building with the maximum utility, and like that's what we did. We want to be able to be close to the developer team, building out to the demo team, so everyone knows what's coming downstream, what's interesting, what we need to do to really continue to support everything there. And be very close to the builders, incredibly helpful, all
When I read about blockchain features, and I think it's more parallels to me growing up in India and seeing how broken some of the record keeping, especially the land record, etc., and how that use case could be solved with the blockchain.
And people want
My name is Gerardo.
to pay their child.
I am the product marketing industry as well as growth, regional growth team, and I've been there for about 10 years. To me, parents are opportunity in the sense that we have a unique opportunity to truly transform businesses, especially businesses, people's lives in a very positive way. With the capability of allowing folks to do instant global payments with very low fees and with the ease of use, always being available, being done and being reliable, with the cost of global blockchain networks that are available to them. That in itself opens up so many doors and possibilities that a lot of people, especially in the developing world, do not have. There are a lot of projections that about $20 to $30 billion worth of value just because it allows a lot of those applications to run better on the blockchain. They're more efficient, they're faster, they really allow these traditional finance institutions to build new backend systems, new rails.
Hello world.
The way I think about crypto, which is a use case of the blockchain, and blockchain capability making it easier for people to store records in a way that nobody can modify them either by intention or without intention or by error. To me, that has a huge positive impact on all the content that we can create, especially with so many people in robots creating fake content around the world. It allows you to then have authenticity of that content. The second one being apps that are cheap, so you can verify a random number that's related to blockchain. So that has impact on lotteries, on elections, on so many different things that I've seen growing up in countries like India, where there has been in the past some potential for folks to kind of
Also Saturday. So I used to do the living workshop.
be
So
corrupt
Saturday to
and
Sunday,
and wrong
on the
from
Saturday.
that perspective, I think
We used to tell people started at 9:30, so they didn't write them down.
feel
So you normally, so people are just gonna cause me commitment, especially on the Sunday.
I love the tech and I love the ethos, but it is just simply that it allowed us to build the game we want to build.
We're gonna get you today.
Hi, I'm George Benson, CEO and co-founder of Putin. Putin is a multiplayer football management game where you will own and run a football club, set of tactics for their team, compete in matches against other real people, compete for promotion, glory, and real money. The thing that brings us to Arbitrum is one, the community, but also two, the actual team at Arbitrum and how helpful they were in terms of answering our questions around how we could do the migration, connecting us with relevant partners in the community system. They just went above and beyond really to help us get to comfort of moving to Arbitrum over. The biggest milestone for me is definitely the extent that people have gone to build history and lore and content around their digital football clubs and football. Because this is something we envisioned from the start, but didn't expect it to happen so quickly. So on the very first day that we gave people their footing clubs, people had already made Twitter accounts and started making content about this code bridge isn't basically real good enough IP, but people really put into that. And that was something that we had a lot of doubts about from investors, from people we spoke to, that people could really buy into that. But it's actually been one of our strongest points. One of the biggest challenges for building Platoon is complex technical tasks. And I'm not a developer, but having to work with the dev team and understand why there's difficulties in firstly building a very complex match engine and making sure that runs pretty balanced, user enjoying it. And then once we had that, that was great. But now we need to scale to hundreds of matches running concurrently so we can get to the user scale. That was a very big challenge. It's taken us about 2 years to first build a match engine and then the scale to do that. And seeing the product develop in that time has been, and I did see success, some not, but it's been very hard to just sort of keep committing to really building a good product and taking that time to do so. Because building games is difficult. I'd say having Arbitrary integrated has definitely helped alleviate some of our other problems. So the whole transition to Arbitrary launching Arbitrary, that's made our lives so much easier. Obviously, we did our player drop a few months ago where we gave out 23-man squads every single footy club, so 70,000 NFTs, and we were just lining up to do that. It was going to cost maybe 20 to 30 grand in gas fees, and then a couple of weeks before, Stylus upgrade came through, and the Global upgrade came through, and basically reduced our fees down to pennies, so it saved us a lot of time and hassle on that side, which means we can really just focus on building a good game. We don't have to worry about the Web3 side of this.
Maybe another question. Not sure what's going to happen in a few years, but I think both of us are starting towards mass adoption so that we can bring more users, but we can bring more decentralized
Partnership on education.
Send your kids to Florida.
And it's very important. And perhaps you're probably the largest platform, and we're building this decentralized users now.
It's like the bunch of guys came up and
Started to work.
The vast majority. They just go get
You're talking about the first
So,
activeness building. And you guys are also one of the first ecosystem that launched campaigns with private policy. So that was really fun. And recently we also worked on our negotiating strategy together. So yeah, so I think our thing is super great, super nice to work with, super responsive, and yeah, it's really great.
sort of like
I think our is very unique.
Oh, yeah, you can speak.
Should be like higher.
Yeah. Avenue is the one right now, the one that.
So it's very different from the other issues where
Okay, you'll do this quick session, but yeah.
the main
I
focus.
guess we- yeah, so that was kind of, yeah, okay. Right.
I think it's really like the part of the box where we
Was the traffic bad?
go.
No, it's not bad, like, I think there's a few.
We, as developers, work together collectively
we have a
towards the city. So that's the type of decentralization I really like.
Oh, gosh, but pretty
It's
close to
foster
the. There.
mean the days.
I should just for this. Okay. Right. I think it's. Oh, you're looking for it. Okay. So rather be.
All right, are you guys rolling? Okay. Hi, my name is Joyce. I'm the head of and contributor to animation. So at Azuki Foundation, we have a vision of entering the anime industry with crypto technology, and it made perfect sense for us to partner with Arbitrum. Arbitrum actually makes it possible to have consumer use cases where animation can onboard millions of users into crypto. That's because of really fast swap times as well as really cheap transactions and outcomes. I started out my crypto career working for an alt L1, and to launch a layer one chain at the time was really, really expensive, very, very complicated, required teams of cryptographers and developers. And I think nowadays it's super easy to launch something like an arbitrary chain with a click of a button. So I think this type of incredible and a lot of fields. Earlier this year, in my role as a contributor to the ArbiLink Foundation, I was tasked with figuring out what tech stack to deploy on, and Arbitrum was a very, very no-brainer choice. Best tech, best ecosystem, best build.
When the currency they travel there.
I believe the future is going to be cross-chain, and a lot of this very, very technical and funky UX will be abstracted away from the end user, and Arbitrum is going to be part of it.
Hooray!
There's just like a missing opportunity and space to build things that are passionate about, and you can use sort of space and make it happen. I don't know if
I would say like should be around.
from being sort of like general interests, politics, sports, to being sports and crypto. And so I think like, it's kind of like a sign to me. It's like, this is something I spend a lot of time I'm interested in. And I think I have a great skill set to be in the category. I think it's marketing. Go to the place that I think sort of products and how they get the experience that we're at. And it's been really positive. I love working. What's in new? I said the opportunity. So we started integrating with functionality back in March of this year. The experience, to be honest, is really positive. Beginning with the engineering for help with the rollout. We were hoping that we would do last year. And the team is really helpful, very assistive in our needs. And we're really keen to personal basis, and it's also for our projects and protocols that personally I use and think about stuff.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. All right. Thank you for waiting. I know everyone, 1,000+ people are on the live stream, so I thought like we should just get started. Nice to see you all. My name is Taka. I'm the head of marketing at ArbiLink Foundation, and we're really glad to be here in Jakarta. So I'll be doing the MC, but we got a really agenda-packed day today. So shall we let's get started. I'll, I kind of figure in the morning, you guys coffee, and then, pump some video, pump some music. So here's a couple for you. Let's just start.
We are here at Token 2049 at ArbiLink. Yes, you heard it first. It's the biggest, best, brightest project within the ecosystem. We have an amazing day, amazing showcase for you. So come with us and check it out. It's been great because it's so focused on people that are already passionate, it seems, about the Arbitrum ecosystem. So we already have that network of people that are curious or even have heard about us before anyway, just want to learn more. So I've had an amazing time. The conversation's been way more focused, really very inspired.
It's amazing. We're really having fun and also meeting with quite a lot of people, which is in the end the objective. So, perfect.
Thank you so much for attending, to everyone that came to ArbiLink. It has been an amazing activation. As you can see, we've had some great projects to showcase. We have even more awesome stuff cooking in the future. Be sure to follow our official Twitter at ArbiLink for the latest and greatest within the ecosystem. And this is just the beginning, so we'll have to see you next year.
All right, hopefully with coffee and then some big, music, we're all awake. We are here at Tokyo. You don't have to watch it again. All right, so good morning, everyone. GM. And thank you very much for folks who are joining on live stream. Sorry for making you guys wait for 15 minutes, but just wanted to make sure that we also get the room filled up. So yeah, we're really happy to be here in Jakarta. So thank you. All right, I don't have to take too much time. So just a couple of slides just on why we're here and everything. So what is ArbiLink? This is actually the first event format that we are scaling across the globe, starting with Southeast Asia. We were in the video you just saw was our event called ArbiBurst that we did at Ethereum Singapore Week. Very well received, 1,018. We were very encouraged, right? I think Southeast Asia is getting a lot of attention, and I think this is like where the big community is going to be growing, right? And so, but we heard your feedback from the community that we need to be everywhere. So we started with here, right, in Jakarta. And next week we're going to be in Ho Chi Minh, and then next month we're going to be also at DevCon. So lots of you will be seeing us working with us for the next month or so. So definitely make time to come. ArbiLink is really builder-focused events organized by the Arbitrum Foundation to really help you guys, the community, and Arbitrum Foundation to really connect and also empower you to learn. But we all know why we're here, right? Sorry, another video. But watch the video, and I think you kind of get an idea of why a lot of builders are here to meet with Arbitrum.
Blue, reliable, scalability, liquidity.
They have always been let us put it.
A place for people to build an experiment and do really cool things.
I think the great opportunity is to make a better internet.
Arbitrum is defined by its great speed of innovation, especially in the DeFi space. Because Arbitrum obviously is the home of DeFi innovation in Moscow. I wouldn't bet against Arbitrum.
The technology is literally doing things that people thought were impossible. We said 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. 10 years ago, even 3 years ago. 10 years ago, even 3 years ago.
We created this video called Big Moves, and then this actually we just launched on our Twitter channel. So you're going to see a series of 15 founder video for the next 2 months, 2 kind of per each. And I think we have actually spoken with builders who have built on Arbitrum. And there's one word that always comes out from the builders in our community. It's Arbitrum is where people come to make big moves, right? And so we're here to obviously talk about the tech stack and everything, and connect with you. But hopefully your key takeaway today is that you feel as strong, as passionate as I do, Patty and everyone else in the room, that Arbitrum is the platform you come to choose to build, make big moves. So with that, how are you going to get there? Is the question. And then hopefully we should. Okay. Now, people on live stream may be like, great, but Taka, I don't have a lot of time and I have very limited time. What can I do? Well, here you go. Here's the answer. So if you're ever thinking about jumping off the live stream, first definitely log into each one of them. We got a learning campaign going on right now. We also got the bounty campaign, build campaign happening. So make sure that, and I have already checked these QR code works on any of the live stream channels. So make sure that you go there, you can register later on, okay? But please tweet this so that, you can start today. So you don't have any more excuse not to make big moves on Arbitrum. Okay, with that, because I want to make sure that this is not the only thing. We got a very agenda-packed day today. So yes, I will hand it over to my next presenter, Patrick. So he's going to be walking you through, intro to Ethereum and Arbitrum. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to the panel discussion. I'm very happy to have really strong list of the builders and the thought leaders from Indonesia, which we'll definitely get into. Then we have 11:30, so that's when we cut off the live stream. We'll pause it, and then we'll come back at 12:30 in this room, and it will also be back on live stream again. We'll be kicking off. Jason Wan is going to kick off with his presentation on stylus and orbit, and then Patrick is going to kick off coding challenge and competition. So that we really want you guys to really get your hands dirty, really coding and really coding with us. Right? And then we'll wrap up around like 5 p.m. So it's about 4 hours. And then please make sure that stick around because there'll be custom merch that we have prepared just for you guys who are in there. So sorry for the ones on the live, but yeah, we'll have that for you if you stick around till 4:45. So but definitely make sure that you don't forget to pick that up. Okay, without further ado, I want to pass it to Patty. Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. I went to the gym the other day, so I'm going to be limping for the next hour. Apologize in advance. But nice to meet everyone. Before I begin, I actually want to ask the people here, hopefully to wake you all up, 1 or 2 questions. And you can just raise your hand and get a sense of the answer. The first thing I want to ask is, who has used Ethereum before? And then who has sent a transaction on Ethereum? 1 person, 2, 3, cool. And then who sent a transaction on Arbitrum specifically? We got 1, cameraman, 2. And then who's used other chains like, let's say, Solana, for example? Raise your hand if you use Solana. 2 more hands, I got 3 to 4. And what about Binance chain? Okay, we found the DJ in the back there. Awesome. And then maybe one last one, and don't worry, I'm not the tax authority. Who owns crypto here, at least a little bit, in the past? Like, who's been a crypto user? Everyone's more subtle with that one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be online. No, I'm going to. Okay, I think probably some people here have those awesome. I just like to ask to get a feel for your background and what you use, and obviously you're into crypto now. And hopefully by the end of the workshop, you'll be much more into crypto. And you'll at least have some test activities, because you'll set some transactions. So without further ado, although I don't think my pointer works. Oh, cool. You're going to see my modulator. So normally at this stage, I ask people to introduce themselves, but I think I'll probably do that in the afternoon because people are still flooding in. And I want to make sure everyone gets to know each other. So we'll do that before the coding session begins, because also you're going to break into teams. So it's probably nice to know who your teammate's going to be before you join that team. And a little bit about myself. I've been working in cryptocurrencies for about 10 years now. I started as a PhD student at Newcastle University in England. I worked at Illinois, UCL, King's College London. I tried to do a startup at one point. I did that during the 2020 bear market. You can imagine how well that went. We got acquired by Imperial, and then I joined the Arbitrum Foundation about a year ago. But for about 8 years now, since at least 2016, most of my work has been focused on scalability and off-chain protocols, which is basically roll-ups and payment channels. So I'm very much bullish on this entire direction of how we're going to scale these networks. I typically focus on system security. But ultimately, if you're going to use cryptocurrencies, how do we make sure people are protected and they don't lose their funds, but also make sure people are able to do cool stuff? Cool. And also, I always focus on facts. I try to not. I'm a PhD background. My advisor always taught me, how do you focus on facts, not opinions, and you'll get far in life. So I always focus on facts. I try not to give you my opinion on stuff. All right. Without further ado, I have about 1 hour worth of content here that I can talk about. But what's really exciting about a workshop is I can prepare this content, because I think this is what you want to learn. But maybe it's not. Maybe you have some random questions you want to ask. So your goal is to make sure I don't finish my slide deck. If I don't finish my slide deck, then you win. You get a test out coin like that. You get some test out coins. But generally ask as many questions as you want. Don't be shy, and I'll do my best to answer all of your questions. Cool. So as I mentioned, I started working in crypto about 10 years ago. That was 2013. Ethereum didn't exist. It was only Bitcoin. Then Gox was still around. It hadn't exploded yet. And I remember reading the Bitcoin white paper, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool and exciting. What got me excited? Why did I get into cryptocurrencies back then? And obviously, I'm a computer scientist, a technical background. Let's cover this from different topics of computer science. Like, why are cryptocurrencies just interesting? And the first one is, the first perspective you can consider are data structures and this idea of cryptographic audit trail. So what do I mean by cryptographic audit trail? Well, let's say we have Bob, and Bob's this cute little baby, and Bob has a database. Then Alice comes along, and Alice is like, oh, she has a little inspector hat. And Alice is like, oh, Bob, I want to audit your database. I want to check that your database is correct and valid, everything's up to date, and there's nothing malicious going on with your little baby database. Now the question is, what should Bob do? Like, how can Bob convince Alice that his database is correct, valid, up to date, there's no invalid entries? Like, how would you go about doing that? One thing he could do is, Bob could give Alice access to the database. Bob could give Alice login credentials. Alice can log in, just look at the database and say, sort of looks correct. But obviously it doesn't give you any guarantee because you can only see the latest state, but not how the database came to be that. But what if it was data structure, let's say, this magic data structure that would allow Alice to reconstruct the entire database from scratch, where Alice could process every individual transaction and get exactly the same database as Bob, and then simply compare it. Does anyone here have an idea of what you could use to do that? Any ideas? Transactions is one way, yeah. What one? Check the log. Similar to checking the log. So what you would use is, blockchain. This is actually what the blockchain is only useful for. When you think about a blockchain, it's a replicated database. And this allows anyone in this room to get a replicated copy of that database. And that is the blockchain and the humbleness of interest. It's really not that exciting to be honest. Oh, it does. And if you think about how a blockchain works, at least this is the Bitcoin, these slides are really old by the way, Bitcoin days. Every 10 minutes, there's a new block, and there's a list of transactions. And when a new block is produced, you just simply append on the transaction. Over time, you just end up with a blockchain. And as you can see, you have every block, you have the canonical history, and all the transactions are ordered. So I can simply pick up the blockchain, execute the transactions in order, and hopefully I'll get the same database as everyone else. So back to our audit story. What Bob could do is, Bob can get his blockchain and send it over to Alice. There you go, Alice. You take my blockchain. Alice can then process every block, execute block one, sort of like the log idea, you're executing the blocks and the transactions. And she ends up with a database. So you can independently verify how Bob built his database. And so you can independently verify that all the rules were followed when executing those transactions. But this brings up a new question. Oh, sorry, that's really what a blockchain is about. It's just a replicated database. So when you run through Ethereum, you run any node software, all that node software is doing is executing transactions and giving you a copy of that database. But now the question is, how does Alice know this is the blockchain? Bob could just make up a blockchain on the spot. He's like, oh crap, Alice is here. She's going to catch me out. I'm going to create a new blockchain from scratch, give it to her, and then she'll just believe that this is the one true blockchain. So now that we actually needed a mechanism to say where Alice can be convinced that this blockchain is the blockchain. It's actually the canonical truth, and it's not something Bob just made up on the fly, just so he could convince Alice about a malicious database, or that there's no missing transactions. So this now brings us to this idea of distributed systems and global consensus. Maybe I'll raise the hand. Who's heard of consensus protocol? Anyone heard of consensus? Yeah, some people. Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Give me your hand. Making a little dance, isn't it? Oh, there you go. Great. So this is where consensus comes in, because now we want to get a room of people to reach consensus on a single decision. So what is a consensus protocol? We basically have a set of computers or people, like in this room. We all want to reach agreement about a single decision, or in this case, a data item. We want to reach agreement that this is the blockchain. So to give you an example, did Olive pay Bob 5 points, or did Olive pay Caroline 5 points? You run that through a consensus protocol, and then hopefully you end up with a decision where Olive paid Bob 5 points. So that's what the consensus protocol is doing, is helping everyone agree to a single decision. And obviously this is the double spending problem. It's not going to try this. And in most consensus protocols, there's a little bit of history, because obviously it's a very old field of research. There's always this trade-off between safety and liveness. But what do we mean by safety and liveness? So in safety, it's more to do with consistency. How can we make sure that everyone can agree to this decision and never forget? So if you have a protocol that's maximally safe, then we should all reach a decision and then never change our mind. And then liveness is really to say, how many people have to be in the room before a decision can be made? If you have 10 people, well, if you require 10 people to show up, then what if only 9 people show up? Well, then you can't have liveness, you won't make any decisions. So that's what he's saying, how many people show up before a decision is final? And once you make a decision, how do we make sure we never forget it? So why is this interesting again? And why is this relevant in all the arbitrum theorem, etc.? We'll hopefully get to that. So when it comes to safety, and I always think this is interesting, so consensus protocols have been around for about 30, 40, 50 years, from the 70s, and they're widely spread amongst corporates and enterprises. And historically speaking, with all the classical consensus protocols, they always focused on a small set of computers, like 3 computers, 10 computers, but normally a fixed set, as in who's involved in the consensus protocol. And I can say, well, that's always going to be Olive, Bob, Caroline. I stop to point them, I say, you're in the consensus protocol, you're stuck with it, you have to participate. And I have one question for people here. Has anyone ever tried to run hardware for AWS and make money? Anyone? Anyone ever run any hardware for AWS? No one, of course not, because you're not allowed to. They're not going to actually run hardware, and they're not going to pay to do it either. So there's no financial incentive typically to participate. Like, you're not just going to take your computer and join out of your goodwill. But also, they always focus on safety. So, and not liveness. So if, let's say, 2 computers went offline, then the system halts. Because they always want to make sure the decision can never be reversed. Always focused on safety. Now, what made Bitcoin, and of course Ethereum, and all these cryptocurrencies so interesting, and obviously it's called Nakamoto Consensus after Satoshi, is that Satoshi took a completely different approach from 30 years of research. He focused on liveness over safety. So in Bitcoin, at least, as long as there's one miner online, you will always get new blocks, and you will always make progress. And that's why it's so censorship resistant. You can kill half the miners, another half the miners will stay online, they'll keep mining, and you'll keep making progress. You have to get like a hammer and you hit a mold, and then 5 other molds pop up. It's just so hard to get. And also, there's a financial incentive to participate. So, 10 years on, let's see if anyone has tried. Has anyone here ever tried to mine a cryptocurrency before? Raise your hand. Oh, one person. There we go. We're not dead. There's still people here doing it. Congrats. It was awesome, because I feel like after 10, 15 years, there's always less people doing it. 2 people here tried. And I assume you did it because you can make money. Exactly. You're like, YOLO, let's go, get my GPU, go to mine, go to make money. And at the same time, you're going to secure and protect the network, which is really cool. And now there's financial incentive to participate. And when you do participate, you make the network more secure, because you come there with numbers, and of course, Bitcoin is hash rate, and Ethereum is staking. Actually, does anyone here stake or participate in staking in any way? some stakers. Raise your hand if you've done staking at least. Okay, 2 people at least so far. Awesome. 2 mining, 2 staking. The flipping is coming. I don't know if you know the flipping is here, but I'll never there. But anyway, my point is, cryptocurrencies created this whole new field for consensus protocol. Because now there's a financial motivation for people to work together to agree to the single blockchain that we all agree on. As in, we know what is the one true Bitcoin, we know what is the one true Ethereum, and of course, Arbitrum, as you'll learn throughout this workshop, sort of hijacks Ethereum and takes advantage of this property. So everyone here can learn what is the one true Arbitrum. And most importantly, anyone in the world can download the blockchain, execute every transaction, get the same database as everyone else, and be convinced what they're transacting on is a safe, secure platform. They don't have to trust anyone to do that. All they have to trust is the consensus protocol, and to make sure they can get the data and they can independently check that's correct. Now, there's no some trust in the system. You know, we have to trust the miners to be alive. We don't have to trust the miners to make the right decision. They just have to actually participate. Now, what's exciting is, if you step away now from all that gobbledygook, the technical part, what you end up with,
So you were talking about the big database. So I'm just curious, how do we like, so we have for the loan and local machine for the transaction here to straight up. How do you like make such a big structure inside single machine?
you have to. So are you asking if how do we make sure as a user, if I have a copy of the database, how can I transact on it?
How do you like keep it huge?
Well, that's a great. We're going to get to that. So the question is, what happens if it gets too big? We're going to get to that. That's one of the trade-offs and what it means to be decentralized. You have this sort of like nice little triangle. You want to maximize the number of users and no fees. You want to maximize you can verify the network, and you want to maximize you can participate and secure the network. You know, for example, staking and mining. But exactly, that's a great trade-off. Though, you know, the database is humongous. I think historically, when I worked in Impura, I remember this is like 3 years ago. The Polygon archival node was growing 2 megabytes every second, and eventually it's 15 terabytes, 20 terabytes. And eventually, I go, oh crap, I can't run this; it's too big. And obviously, other networks like EOS, Solana, etc., humongous databases. So there's just a spectrum of trade-offs, and it's really up to the community to decide what is too big. But we'll get to that in more detail. Cool. So now what we end up with is a public global database. A single database that the entire world can share and interact with. What can we build with this? What we end up with, of course, are the applications, because most people care about. Now, one thing that's underappreciated in cryptocurrencies is this quote from Satoshi Nakamoto. The root problem of conventional currency is all the trust that's required to make it work. And the word trust here is really important, because that's really what cryptocurrencies solve. You know, Bitcoin is electronic cash, the ability to make transfers without a trusted intermediary. And I don't have to trust anyone here to send money. We can both be on Bitcoin. I can run a node, you can run a node. I can send you the Bitcoin. You can verify that you received the Bitcoin. And on Ethereum, it goes a step further. You know, can we do more than just money transfer? Could I deploy a program? And could we execute the program? And could we do this in a way where we don't have to trust anyone to run that program? And if so, what can you build with that? So what you typically find that pops up in cryptocurrencies are auctions, voting, for example. Is anyone here in a DAO? Oh, we got DAO participants. Look at this, YOLO. You know, you can vote in DAOs. You have tokens and shares. I'm sure people here have tokens. You can gamble. I'm sure there's some DJs here that love a good bit of gambling. You can speculate on NFTs and art, and you can trade. And what's really important is, like, and this is an example I have, and it's from 2021. I'm sure you guys know Roland Ulfberg. He was from Dread Parrot Roberts from Silk Road. He's now in jail now for like 10 years, hopefully be pardoned soon. But what's interesting is that people launched an NFT auction to raise money for his legal defense. And this is the NFT. And you can see Udi here. Udi's a bit of a troll online. But he made a comment to say people have already bid this auction up 200 ETH to almost $1 million. Now, we can see this tweet, but can we verify that this really happened? We can't. You can go on the website, and you can see people placing their bids. So you can see here that Jeff Paul, he's actually the guy from Kraken, he made a bid of 1,300 ETH. But can you go further? You can't. You can go to Etherscan, and you can see the transactions, and you can see, oh, there really was a bid in this auction for this NFT for this amount of money. So you can independently verify the auction, you don't have to rely on the claim from the tweet. Anyone in this room can do that. And you can go a step even further. You could download, you could get Ethereum, run your node, and then get a copy of the database yourself and check locally. Oh, this is mostly good enough for most people, Etherscan. Well, that's cool. You can independently check the auction. What you can also do is catch insider trading and watch trading just by using blockchain data. So back in, let's say it's a month ago, but actually like 3-4 years ago, there was a claim that Melania Trump was watch trading her White Hat NFT because she bought it herself, apparently. But then you have this guy called Zero It's so crypto, isn't it? He's an ape, but I think it's like a poison ape, a zombie ape. But he was able, so based on blockchain data, he was able to discover that this guy Nate, who was a product owner at OpenSea, he was buying the NFT in advance. And then when it's launched on OpenSea, on the last announcement, he would then sell and dump. So basically insider trading. And Zero just used blockchain data. He worked out, oh, there's someone inside OpenSea performing insider trading. He wrote a tweet, and then Nick got fired. And I think he got sued actually as well, was the outcome by OpenSea. Many of the crypto investigations get now, that's 2021. We get to Google it and see what the result was. But it's cool. This random add-on could detect insider trading. So what's really exciting about cryptocurrencies is that you can have auctions without auctioneers. There's just smart contracts. Voting without tallying authorities. You might just look at a smart contract and count the votes. Tokens without permission. We all know all those meme coins. Gambling without casinos. Smart contracts. You can speculate in NFTs, and you can trade without brokers and all the AMMs. So damn cool. So what cryptocurrencies really solve is trust engineering. Can we define, minimize, and if possible, remove these trusted intermediaries? And can we replace it with verifiable programs like smart contracts, where I don't have to trust anyone. I just trust the proof of a smart contract. And of all this public data, I can even catch the bad guys. I don't have to rely on these third-party auditors or the FBI. I can read the blockchain data myself and catch them. Make a tweet about it and save the day. I'm sure you guys have seen that guy, XBT Zach. For example, he's like a big Twitter account now around catching bad guys using blockchain data. So this all sounds too good to be true. What about security? What's really exciting about cryptocurrencies is that they represent the largest bug bounties in the world. So this is the DAO hack from 2016. I think it represented about 20 or 10% of all Ether. The DAO was a Kickstarter program. The idea was that you could lock your money into the DAO, and then the DAO could vote on how to spend that money and invest in it. Take the first DAO. Unfortunately, it got hacked. There was a fork, the sea of the funds, that led to Ethereum Classic, and Ethereum as we know today. So you have all these crazy hacks. Cryptocurrency exchanges keep getting hacked. This is a tweet from 2016, where 33% of Bitcoin exchanges have been hacked. And they were also large in scale. A year from 2016, Gox lost 850,000 Bitcoin. Silk Road lost 170 Bitcoin. Phoenix lost 120,000 Bitcoin. This story is incredible because now we have more information through the hackers. And their Instagram account was amazing. But we can talk about that later. It was ludicrous. DeFi keep getting hacked. This is from 2020. It was hacked every 2 weeks. It was actually hacked like 2 days ago. All right, body recall. There's only hacked every 2 weeks. You got to be very careful using this software. It's getting better, to be honest, but it's still bad. But there's so many things. If there's so many bugs out there, and you know the bugs are out there, well, anyone in this room, you can hunt for the bugs. And if you find the bug, you can tell the team, be a white hat, and earn money for doing that. So this example I thought was really funny because it's from 2021. In September 2021, Polygon announced a bounty of $2 million if a critical bug was found. 1 month later, nearly by the day, October 21, they paid out the $2 million bounty. So within a month, you're going to be a $2 million and you found that bug. Which is incredible, isn't it? Because anyone in this room could do it. You just look at the code, you try to break it, you find the bug, you report it, you can make $2 million. Okay? There's a whole host of bugs and different bug bounties. So it could be just from the infrastructure that the project runs right down to the smart contract level. And it also depends on the vulnerability type, as in if your vulnerability can steal funds from the system, that typically pays out more. If your bug can hold the system, but is recoverable, and make out less, you'll still get a decent payout. Is that the question? Okay, cool. Yeah, the whole spectrum typically, there's a website called Immunify that a lot of people go to and projects use that list their criteria for bounties. So how do you recommend checking it out? Could be a good way to make money. So does this sound interesting? Are people excited? Woo, give me a woo, you're excited. Woo! Awesome. So let's get to the next step. How does this all tie together? How does, getting back to the question, how do we set a transaction and how does that end up in the blockchain? So as most people are aware, you have an Ethereum address, a Bitcoin address. And what that really is the public-private key. So your public key is basically your account, and your private key is what you keep on your wallet, your hardware device. I hope you're using hardware devices. Please use hardware devices. Your private key is used to create digital signatures, and your address when you share to people to receive funds. So what's really cool about cryptocurrencies is that you can have as many identities as you want, and you can have as many addresses as you want. I can create an address on the fly. There's no gatekeeper. I don't have to go register an account. I just get my hardware wallet or MetaMask, create an account, give it to you, you can send me money. The takeaway is you have as many identities as you want, and only the funds in this account can be spent by your digital signature. That comes from your private key. If you remember that 12-word seed or 24-word seed that you create when you create a hardware wallet, that 24-word seed is basically the source of all your private keys, and of course, all of your addresses. So please keep it safe. Now, in most cryptocurrencies, all transactions roughly have the same data. They have different fields, but they all roughly have the same information. You have a sender and a digital signature. You have a receiver. That could be a user or a smart contract. You might be sending some value, and there's typically some type of transaction fee for doing that. And of course, there's this payload, and the payload could contain the bytecode of the smart contract. That's the you're deploying the smart contract. It'll be stored in the payload. Or you're going to interact with the smart contract, called a function. That will also be in the payload. And every cryptocurrency, maybe except for Bitcoin, typically looks like this. In a nutshell. Now, let's say I create my transaction. Maybe let's say Jason over there. I want to give Jason, let's say 1 Bitcoin. You get a good boy, 1 Bitcoin. How do I make sure that everyone in the world is aware that you're going to get this 1 Bitcoin and you truly do receive it? So as a user, what I do is I create my transaction, I get my private key, and I create a digital signature. And I've got my 1990 automation, signing the transaction there. And after it's signed, I then have to connect to the peer-to-peer network. Okay? So that can either be running my own node, they'll connect to peers. Maybe I use a node provider, someone like Fear or Alchemy or someone else. But generally, I'm going to send it to a peer-to-peer network. It gets sent out. And every peer in this network will take my transaction, double check it, and then pass it on. And every peer will receive this transaction, and it's really fast now, to be honest. I think in Ethereum, within 2 seconds, 90% of all peers, and that's like 10,000 nodes, will receive your transaction and not process, but keep a copy of it. Now your transaction has been sent to the network in this room. I'm going to tell everyone in this room about the transaction. You all now know, so everyone in this room now is aware that this transaction doesn't exist. So it's pending. It's not yet confirmed. It exists. You all know my intent, but now we need to confirm it and execute it. Just take the peer-to-peer now. So now you have to wait until this transaction gets into a block. And if you're in Bitcoin, you can wait 10 minutes or an hour. On Ethereum, you typically wait 12 seconds or 30 seconds. And in Arbitrum, it's actually much faster, 350 milliseconds. We'll understand why that is later on. But what is a block? Like, why are we waiting for a transaction to get into a block? Now, a block, in the simplest terms, is an ordered list of transactions. Transaction 1, transaction 2, transaction 3. Now, that ordering part is so important to remember, because that's where MEV comes out. Is anyone here aware of MEV? Like front running, back running, arbitrage, short-range attacks. It's really exploiting the idea that transactions are ordered. So if you're performing a trade here, and I want to extract value from your transaction, I want to get in front of you and behind you. I want to make sure I'm in control. I can take advantage of the ordering and maximize the value I extract. That ordering is so important to remember. Oh, there we go. Batch update. And a block is really, if you think about database terms, a block is just a batch update to the database. Every 12 seconds, I give everyone here a new block. We take this block, we execute it, and you apply it to your database. This is a batch update to a database. So where do blocks come from? Now, in Bitcoin, because I always find Bitcoin more interesting, it runs the puzzle. The first person to solve the puzzle will get to create the block. And in Ethereum, it's more like a turn-based game. If you're familiar with proof-of-stake Ethereum, you have slots, you have epics, you know what slot you're going to be in, so you know if you're going to create the block or not. So let's look ahead. Now, trying to create the Ethereum one is going to take me more than 10 minutes. I could probably explain the Bitcoin one using a competition. So everyone here is going to participate. We're going to focus on the Bitcoin one because it's more fun. So who's ever watched the game show called, I think it's called Countdown? It's like a British TV show, maybe not. So I didn't think so. I just thought I'd try my luck. So the way the game works is the following. There's going to be a big number up here, okay? And there's going to be 6 smaller numbers. Now, using any combination of the smaller numbers, you can use addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Can you recreate the big number? Okay, so let's say that was 4, and that was 2 and 2. Well, 2 plus 2 equals 4. You win. Okay? So, whoever solves the problem, raise your hand. I'm going to get your solution. We're going to check your solution, okay? So, hope you're all ready, okay? 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, crap. Yep, 100 times 3 minus 25. Perfect. Any other solutions? 4 times 50? Oh, 50, yeah, plus 75. Yeah, perfect. Any other solutions? Cool. Well, we got 2 solutions anyway, so that's good. So the reason why I want to highlight that is when it comes to proof of work, like in Bitcoin, what's nice about it is that 1, it takes some time to solve. So your answer took about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. But once you give me the solution, we can all check it right away. We were just like, I'm trying to remember what it was 100 times 3 minus 25. Very quick to verify. So proof of work has that cool property. It takes time to solve, and obviously in Bitcoin, it should take 10 minutes on average. But once you know the solution, it's super quick. What's also interesting is that there's different solutions to the puzzle. So you had one solution where you had 3 numbers. You had another solution with also 3 numbers. My solution, mine's a bit awful. I went about it roundabout way, didn't I? multiplication, two additions, like what am I doing here? But what's nice is you can actually judge the solution. You can actually say one solution is better than the other. And in Bitcoin, we would say whatever has the most proof of work, as in the most zero numbers on the block hash, that's a better solution than the previous one. So now with this weight, you can say, well, this is the heaviest blockchain, or the heaviest proof of work. And so in Bitcoin, you follow the chain with the most proof of work, the one with the better quality solution. Obviously, in theory, you don't have to worry about any of this. It's a term-based game, but it's still fun. And obviously, when I made this slide, 12.5 Bitcoin is what you got on every block. That's actually 6 years ago now, isn't it? And you got 55,000 pounds. A lot more than that now. Anyway, so, and also what's really cool about the proof of work one is that as long as you can solve the puzzle, you can create a block. You don't have to register, you don't need to see it, you can just get your hardware, you're anonymous, you create a block, boom, you make money. But now you create the block, and then you send it out to the network. Really, when you have that, in Bitcoin, you have the proof of work, or in Ethereum, if everyone's aware that you are the staker, you should create the block. What you're really saying is, I have the authority to create this block. I solved the puzzle, I'm in the correct slot in proof of stake, I'm the one who should have the right to create this block. And so post it out to the network, and what every computer will do is they'll take your block, they will first check your puzzle or your signature and say, yep, you have the authority to create this block. This should be you creating it. You create the block, or sorry, I check it's correct, check the block, yep, the block's valid, I process the transactions, I update my database, and then I pass it on. Every computer will do this, and again, this is very quick. In Ethereum, this has to be sent within 4 seconds, I believe, because in the 12-second window, there's 3 segments. And Bitcoin is sent within like a couple of seconds as well. The block should be like 3 megabytes or something really small. But this gets to your point as well. And obviously, I have some slides on this, but it's not here today. But that block's really big. That's going to be a gigabyte. It's humongous. Well, it may take 5 minutes to get across the network, or 10 minutes across the network, or 20 minutes across the network. And the issue is that if the block gets so big, where by the time I get the block and I can check that it's correct, if that takes so long that 5 more blocks have been created, and I just fall behind. And by the time I get the block from you, I check it, these guys have created 5 blocks, and I have to go get these blocks. Now there's 10 blocks, and I just fall behind, and I can't keep up in real time. So I lose the power to independently verify that it's correct. Just because the blocks are so big, there's so many transactions, I just can't keep up. And that's obviously, depending on your belief, that could be a problem. Cool. Now, one thing that can happen in blockchains, because if you remember earlier on, I mentioned blockchains prioritize liveness over safety. So has anyone heard of a blockchain fork? Cool. So let me illustrate it anyway, because this can still happen on Ethereum today. It can actually happen on any cryptocurrency, to be honest. So what if here's the example. So you solve the puzzle, and he solved the puzzle. If you both solve the puzzle at the same time, then there's 2 blocks. You have block 3A and block 3B. But in a blockchain, typically, only one block can get in the blockchain. It's a chain, it's not a tree. So we have to decide, does block 3A get in, or block 3B get in? So which one do we pick? So let me ask you guys here. So let's say you're a miner or a staker, you're the one creating the next block. And you have 2 blocks that pop up, block 3A and block 3B. And you have to pick one of them to to build on and extend, to create the chain. What one would you pick? Any ideas? Oh. What one? The shortest one, okay, so you pick the smaller block, the one with the least transactions. Okay, and there may be several reasons why you would do that. Smaller transaction, more likely that everyone received it first. Another reason why you may pick a smaller block, it has less transactions. If this has 100 transactions, this has 0 transactions, well, that means you can pick up these transactions in your block, so you can make more money. There's also reasons why you may pick this smaller block. Then there's more transactions to pick from in your block. Any other reasons or any other strategies people would do here? Well, there's other things you could do. So what some people would do is flip a coin. They can say, well, there's two, pick 3A, flip a coin, okay, 3B. Or maybe you'll just pick the one you saw first.
Can we vote for that, like using a quadratic voting or something?
I'd probably take it all, to be honest. But I think the voting protocol would be more like outside of this. So I think the voting protocol would be more like you would pick one, but well, I guess this is technically a voting protocol, but I don't think you would just try it. Maybe I'll explain it first, and you'll see why.
Yeah, because vote is like a governance thing.
Yeah. Well, in this case, like when you pick a block, this is really just one person picking the block. So you're casting your vote in a way. So when you think about the entire blockchain, that's everyone's vote. So in this scenario, we'll be casting one vote. That's why I would say it's not really quadratic. But if you were to allow everyone to cast their vote, then you could apply the quadratic scheme to it. So you could do something like that. Anyway, you pick one block, then block 4 gets created. Eventually, one block is longer than the other. This gets discarded, and that becomes the blockchain. Now, why is this important to remember? So what could happen is your transaction may get confirmed in here, but then if this gets discarded, well, your transaction becomes unconfirmed and goes back to pending. So it gets confirmed here, this gets built, and then maybe your transaction ends up in this block. So it could be confirmed, pending, confirmed. And so it's like a juggling as they go, getting confirmed, getting pending, getting confirmed, and then eventually it gets confirmed and ends up in the blockchain. It's less frequent to happen now, but in early Ethereum days, it was very common to happen. I think 7% of all blocks when Ethereum was proof of work was discarded. So it's very common. And proof of stake Ethereum can still happen, but it's a lot less common. Cool, so putting the pieces together, you get digital signatures, transactions, miners, stakers, blockchain. A user can send their transaction across the network. Everyone will check that the transaction is correct. Some miner or staker will create a block. They'll decide a list of transactions. And eventually we'll end up with the longest blockchain. Maybe the heaviest based on proof of work, the heaviest in terms of stake. There's some way to independently verify this is the one blockchain. So we have this network that now looks a bit like a world computer, and all it can really do is reach consensus on the order of transactions. That's really all this blockchain is doing. And then from that, you end up with this nice world. But before I continue, I'm going to talk. I want to check my time. Let me see. I think I have enough time. I was thinking about 30 minutes. Well, he's not here, so he can't do this tunnel. So I will continue until they show up otherwise. Cool. So how do we build on top of it? Okay? Ethereum, and Arbitrum, of course, and Ethereum and XE, but you could use other networks. But I'm going to pick Ethereum for now. I apologize in advance. So what's really cool is, where does the idea of smart contract come from? One source is this blog post by Nick Zazbo in 1994. He has this long definition for what a smart contract could be. Well, it's a bit tedious, isn't it? Smart contract is computerized transaction protocol, etc. It doesn't really, rub off. Oh, you ready? I was really asking, am I good on time or? I'm going to take 20 minutes. Oh, easy. Awesome. Sorry, guys, it took me for longer. So this is anyway definition of a smart contract, but to me, it's not really relatable. I wouldn't read that and think, oh, I know what a smart contract is. So I think of it like a little robot. You have the AI craze now, the robots are in trend. And typically when you think of a smart contract, it makes this promise to the user. Typically, a smart contract will never modify or change your code unless you allow the contract to do that. The smart contract will always run the code you tell it to. As in, if I'm going to call a function, it will always call that function. The code, at least in Ethereum, is atomic. It's all or nothing. When you're running through a function, You just can't stop halfway through a function. Either you complete the entire execution you were expecting to do, or you revert and you roll back. You don't go like 2 steps down and say, okay, I'm at this line of code, pause. And then there's another transaction that picks it up. You don't do that. It's all or nothing. And finally, it likes the gossip. This is one of the most important bit, is that there's no privacy whatsoever. Everything is public. You put your date of birth in a smart contract, everyone's going to see it. Which is why, I think early on, people got really interested in cryptography, because cryptography is a way to have privacy in a public setting. And that's where you got the code ZK creates. Well, the irony now is, zero knowledge proofs were invented for privacy, and now we use the scalability, and no one actually uses the privacy part of it. I think it's kind of ironic actually. People don't really care about privacy, they care about scalability. Now, in Ethereum, you have 2 different types of accounts. You have the externally owned account, that's your Ethereum address, your public private key pair, your MetaMask wallet, and you have smart contract accounts. Well, the question that people here, can anyone tell me if this is an EOA, an externally owned account, or a smart contract? Can anyone tell me which one it is? Exactly. So when the EVM was designed, it was designed on purpose to be indistinguishable. So if you just look at an address, you can't tell what it is. You'd have to go look it up on the blockchain or at your database and say, oh, it has some code associated with it, so it must be a smart contract. And at the solidity level, when you write a smart contract, all addresses are treated equally. And that can cause some problems. But generally speaking, when you're using nicely.sender and you're trying to identify who the caller is, it's difficult to work out if that was called by another smart contract or by an end user. And that was done on purpose, so it'd be at least easier to deal with. Now, when you create transactions, there are typically 3 types. You're going to send money to someone, you're going to create a smart contract, or you're going to interact with a smart contract. And has anyone here heard the concept of gas before? Has anyone ever run out of gas when you send a transaction? There you go. Yeah, it's like wasted my money. Send my transaction out of gas. Very frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, so the reason that gas exists is just to make sure that the transaction will eventually finish. What if I send a transaction with an infinite loop and it just goes on forever? Well, that'll be a denial of service attack. We'd all get the transaction, we'd run it forever, and it would never stop. So gas is just a way to solve I think it's called the halting problem. Just to make sure the transaction actually stops. So in the EVM, every opcode is associated with gas. So addition is like 1 gas, subtraction is 1 gas, storing a variable is like 20,000 gas. And every transaction has a gas limit. So you can only use up to 2 million gas, 3 million gas, and you have to pay for that as well. And actually, funny story, if you look up the history of Ethereum, Vitalik wanted to call this mana. Like mana from a video game, like MP. There's an EIP for it. You want to call it mana? Everyone laughed a little bit. This is stuff with gas. I think mana would be really fun. So this is like a random transaction from ArbiScan. This is basically a fork of EtherScan. And just to show you what a transaction looks like every transaction will tell you what block is confirmed in. And obviously you can check that number, you can see the other transactions in that block. In this case, this random transaction sent $6,000. They sent about 2.4 ETH. And again, it really is just a random transaction account. Every transaction has a fee. It's actually quite incredible when you think about it. This person spent $6,000, they sent it to someone, and it cost them less than a tenth of a penny. There's 2 dots there. Not even a penny to send $6,000. It's actually ridiculous. And that's what a transaction looks like. And of course, this is the blockchain. You can imagine in this block, we create a smart contract. We deploy the smart contract code. And then over time, blocks get created. And eventually, this is probably the important thing to highlight. Typically in blockchains, a smart contract is event-driven. As in, you have to poke the smart contract to do something. A smart contract will not do anything in the background. It's not like, creating like a JavaScript file and run on your computer and run it as a background process. There's no background process. You have to pay for every execution it does, and you have to poke it to do cool stuff. If you don't poke it, it doesn't do anything. That's the thing. And in this case, we create the smart contract, 4 blocks later, Bob comes along, he pokes the smart contract, and the smart contract actually does something. So as you can see here, contract.function. Or just in the payload, you'll see what function is calling, and the arguments, and everything else. And then blocks keep continuing on over time. So how is this built? So most people use Solidity. When I started working on Ethereum in 2016. I got introduced via Remix. I went on Remix, that was a voting protocol. I was messing about, it was really fun. And we're hopefully going to use it today as well. It's still around. Probably one of the oldest things in Ethereum. You have the EVM, this virtual machine, and of course, all event-driven programs. And the first example I saw was this voting smart contract. I believe they still have this in some form on the blockchain. This is Solidity 0.4. Smart contract probably doesn't compile anymore. I actually was at a conference I saw, my favorite conference, Pina Colada, as I was watching, as I was learning how to do this. But what's Ethereum's Achilles heel? Because clearly I've been spoke for like the last 45 minutes and how great Ethereum is. But we all know there's problems. There's a reason why layer 2 rollups exist. And that's because they're slow, expensive, and everyone has to share this resource. It's like a computer from the 1970s. Really, really slow, really, really expensive. As in, I stole this from Reddit the other day. And that's my question here. Has anyone here ever paid more than $10 US for a swap? Okay, a few people are like, okay, that's the TJ corner over there. Three ones. The OGs of Ethereum. But my point is, like, who wants to pay $10 to swap? That's ridiculous. And in fact, in this quote, this from a year ago, the average price was $150 to swap a couple of years ago. This is still cheap. What a guy. But it's ludicrous, isn't it? $150, most people aren't going to use it. It's not going to happen. But the question is why? Why is this $150 to swap? And it goes back to the question we had earlier about the law. In Ethereum, the Ethereum community attempts to maximize decentralization and global enforcement. So anyone in this room, for example, you can run a node and you can enforce the rules on behalf of everyone else. And the more people enforcing the rules, the more secure that network is. And in Ethereum, the proof-of-stake network, at the protocol level, asterisk, there's 1 million validators at the protocol level that are processing your transaction. Now, in practice, one person can run multiple validators. Every validator is 32 ETH. If I was a whale, I could run 10 validators. But generally speaking, at the protocol, there's 1 million validators, at least, in terms of stake ETH, you're processing your transaction. And you can see the validators increasing over time. And it's sort of like this, I forget the TV show called now, for so many years, they combine their rings and become like some superhero. But the point is that because of this global enforcement and the need to have so many users validating transactions, that means the resources the network can consume is limited. You need to have small blocks, not too many transactions, you have to be careful what you execute. And because of that, it's supply and demand. But there's people who are willing to pay $150 to do this, they're going to pay $150, price everyone else out. And that sucks. We maximize security, but then we restrict the affordability of the network, and ultimately you can send transactions. So I wrote this tweet the other day, actually, I'm making the slide. So now you have this open problem. Can we have Ethereum security with low fees, high throughput? Because Ethereum's guiding vision has always been to increase throughput, lower the fees, while preserving decentralization and social. So can we do this? Could we have Ethereum security with low fees? Now, one way you would do this, thinking outside the box, what if you could do the following? You could take your assets that live in Ethereum, like your USDC, your meme coins, I don't know what you guys get off to, but your offset on Ethereum, could you take your offset, move it to some off-chain system, transact here, and when you're done, bring your funds back to Ethereum. And could you do this by retaining the security of Ethereum as much as you can? Now, historically, this is how we've always scaled cryptocurrency. So earlier, before we saw a handful of people transact on Ethereum, we asked another question. You raise your hand if you've ever used a cryptocurrency exchange. Well, give me your hand, guys. You never used a cryptocurrency exchange. More hands. Look at this. All the shies are coming on now. Shy people. Exactly. Because cryptocurrency exchanges are cheap. I on top of my feet, I can trade it there. I can do all the coin swap. Maybe I'll bring it back to my bank account, or I'll bring it on the crypto. So historically, this is how cryptocurrency exchanges work. You take the assets from Ethereum, you move it to Binance, you trade on Binance, and maybe bring it back to Ethereum. Now, the problem with these exchanges is that you have to trust them to protect your funds. And I'm sure everyone here is aware of FTX, the latest of the many exchanges that have drugged us in the past. But historically, we know this works. People will use it if it does exist. And unfortunately, the trust issues, they keep getting hacked. This is like an old slide that I have of exchanges that have been hacked up to 2019. So again, Mt. Gox, Bitstamp, Bitfinex. Some of them have survived. Binance got hacked. They lost 7,000 Bitcoin. And the thing is with these exchanges, a lot of the time, it's not because they're malicious or they want you to lose your funds or steal your funds. It's just so difficult to protect billions of dollars. This is a really, really hard thing to do. So is it possible to have a similar tech stack while protecting all the funds held by the service? So I don't have to trust Binance. I don't have to trust Coinbase. I can just lock my money in, transact, bring my money back out, and never trust the operator with my funds. This is a rollups promise. This is the promise of a rollup startup. Rollups are trying to solve this problem, where you could have a similar architecture, but you don't trust the operator with your funds. I'm going to have this nice code. Rollup is the new server. Rollups are more like servers than they are like blockchain. And that's really cool. So now what you can have is this bridge that lives on Ethereum that holds all the assets. I want to use Arbitrum. I lock my money to the bridge. It pops up on Arbitrum. I transact in Arbitrum as much as I want with low fees. And eventually, I want to take my funds out of Arbitrum and bring it back to Ethereum. And this withdrawal part is typically protected by fraud proofs, or a ZK rollup, it protects the ZK proof. So when you think of ZK proofs and fraud proofs, it's really this part that is protecting. Imagine this from Arbitrum to Ethereum. Because this bridge on Ethereum is holding billions of dollars, and it needs to be convinced that it can allow the user to withdraw the funds. The fraud proofs, the ZK proofs, it's really this little part here that matters. Imagine this from Arbitrum back to Ethereum. Now, in a bit more detail, because obviously that's quite abstract, we have three users we care about when we think of rollups. We have the user, the next mooncat, we have the sequencer, and we have the executor. Okay? So we have the way rollups work is rollups will typically post checkpoints to Ethereum periodically the same. Ethereum, this is what my database currently looks like. Here's a checkpoint. And we have a sequencer who orders transactions. So then the user comes along, hi Alice, and Alice wants to use the rollup. So Alice will deposit one coin on Ethereum, and it will pop up on the rollup, just like an exchange. I deposit money in the Coinbase, and then later I get my balance in Coinbase. Then Bob comes along, hi Bob, and Alice wants to send a coin to Bob. So how does she do it? Now you remember in Bitcoin and Ethereum, Alice would craft the transaction, send it to a peer-to-peer network, everyone in the room would hear about it, and then eventually it gets confirmed in a block. Rollups is a bit simpler. Alice can send it to the sequencer. So you send it to the sequencer, like a normal server, running on AWS, for example. The sequencer can notify Alice and say, Alice, I've got your transaction, I promise you it's going to get confirmed. And then the sequencer can also notify Bob to say, Bob, Alice is going to send you one coin, and it's going to get confirmed very soon. So now Alice and Bob have this nice promise from the sequencer. You know, that's why when you transact on a rollup, you'll get like an instant confirmation, and then in 250 milliseconds, you get a block of the transaction. And then, you know, over time, the sequencer waits for more transactions. And eventually, what the sequencer will do is, it'll take all the transactions it's heard about. Cool, awesome. It'll take all the transactions it's heard about, create a block, just as we saw before, a block of data, these blobs, will then send it to Ethereum. And once that transaction data hits Ethereum, it's confirmed and it's ordered. And we have the final ordering of the blobs and transactions, how they should be executed. Now, the important thing here is that the transactions are ordered, but they're not yet executed. So what happens is that an executor comes along, they'll pick up the transactions, they'll execute the transaction, 1990 animation, and they'll put a checkpoint to Ethereum and say, Ethereum, given those transactions, this is what the database looks like, it's now confirmed, and you just withdraw their funds. And in Arbitrum, this would be like a fraud-proof system, and ZK rollups, this would be the ZK proofs. And then that's how rollups work. It's just this continuous cycle where the sequencer will order transactions and post it, and then someone will come along and execute. Yeah.
Like explanation would be possible from the let's say from the sender. There's an explanation happening.
It depends on how the ordering happens. So the question is, are there race conditions? So what really matters is, what is the final ordering that hits Ethereum? And really it depends on who's allowed to sequence. If you have a single sequencer, then only the sequencer can decide the ordering. There's no race condition. You know, the user sends, Alice gives me the transaction, I hold it. Maybe Alice and Bob send me 2 transactions. I can pick which one goes first. I can decide that order. But when it comes to Ethereum, it really has the authority to sequence. So in some rollups, you have multiple sequencers, you have to be very careful how you order them, because you could end up with, or maybe one sequencer posts before the other, then obviously that can mess. But what's nice is that the main trick here, the reason why you have low latency and low fees on rollups is that you're basically, you know, if I want to launch a blockchain network today, I don't need to go find 1 million validators. I just need to spin up a sequencer, like an AWS server. I just create an ordering service where I have a sequencer, and then I can pay Ethereum, and obviously this one honest party, I pay a fee to Ethereum to protect all the funds in the system. So I can just reuse all the validators Ethereum has. And all I care about is this. I just build my sequencer, I deploy it, and then Ethereum protects the funds, and anyone in this room can come along, hopefully, and then protect the funds. So it's a much simpler architecture than here. Yeah, I'm on the last slide. Oh, the second last. So what's really nice is, if you consider Ethereum like David versus Goliath, no matter how malicious these operators are, long term, Ethereum will always be able to protect your funds, regardless of who's running the system. And of course, rollup is the new server, the Binance Coin gets fixed up. You now have Arbitrum base and Starkware, exactly the same architecture. And obviously, Arbitrum makes these promises, low transactions, secure by Ethereum, drop-in compatibility with the EVM, so you feel like you're interacting with Ethereum. But the last thing I want to highlight is, all these rollups have the EVM to look and feel like Ethereum, but do they have to? Can we experiment? Can we do something more fun than just the EVM? And of course we can. So as you're going to see in the afternoon, in Arbitrum, we support the EVM, so we support all your typical tuning, blah, 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 solidity, but we also have WASM. So you can write a Rust smart contract, deploy in the Arbitrum as a first-class citizen. So your Rust smart contract can directly interact with the Solidity smart contract, and vice versa. You just do a dot call, you interact with your Solidity contract as you normally do. So now we can have Rust smart contracts live in mainnet, and of course you can go have a fun day writing Rust. So in the afternoon, that's the dot call example. Solidity, Rust. You'll have a chance to learn more about it in the afternoon. because there's going to be a workshop by Jason at about 1 to 2 p.m. So that's the end of my session. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll be back in the afternoon. And then
Thanks, Patty. Wow, you went through that whole like 100 slides. I don't know how you do it, but great job. All right, shifting gears. All right, can we start getting the chair set up, please? All right, so the panel discussion that you've all been waiting for. Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna dance or I'm not gonna sing. Yeah, we got a very exciting panel discussion happening now. Yeah. Cool. By the way, thank you for, was it 5,700 people on the live stream? Hello, everyone. Really appreciate you guys joining. Hope you enjoyed Patty's session. Hope that was informative. So we got an exciting panel discussion happening about Web3, future in Indonesia, and so forth. And I think, wow, we really got like really strong roster of Web3 thought leaders from Indonesia. So really have. Is it okay if I ask just kind of like people map out to this order of things? Right. So I want to welcome Lawrence from Nobi, Jonathan from P2, Stephen from Crystal DeFi, and Sean from Side. Thank you very much for coming. And do you guys have all the mic? Awesome.
Got it. There's only three. Oh. Very sure.
Yeah, just do that. All right, if we share.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll share. Okay. All right, man. So, I have to have this and this. Very quite a lot of things I have to carry today. All right. Cool. All right then. So yes. All right. Let's start. So yeah, thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it on such a last minute short notice, and really appreciate you guys coming. I know today you guys got an election tomorrow, so I know traffic is not exactly the most friendly, but yeah, thank you for making that. So it'd be great, maybe like take a couple minutes per person to introduce yourself. And yeah, what do you do? What's your, like, the position at your protocol, project, whatever. Yeah, it'd be great. Thanks. So you want to speak from Lawrence? Yep.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for having me. I want to introduce myself. I'm Lawrence. I'm from Nobi Lab. So I mean, we do a lot of different things in Indonesia. We probably are known for the exchange. So it's a centralized exchange that help people buy and sell their crypto. Internationally, we do a lot of different things. We have like asset management on like crypto funds. We also run crypto validators, and we just recently built a DeFi in Solana. So it's a lot of different things, but we are all Jakarta based. So if you guys are based in Jakarta, feel free to talk to me. Maybe we can hang out.
Great. Great, thanks, man. All right, welcome. All right, Jonathan.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Jonathan from Pintu. So Pintu is a centralized exchange also. We're one of the top centralized exchange in Indonesia. So we're currently uniquely positioned in the market as one of the easiest, I guess, checks experience and the smoothest UI UX in the market. And currently we're focusing on building more pro features. And also, we're also the first centralized exchange to have a Web3 wallet within our app. And it's MPC based, so we'll probably talk more about that. So we want to open up the access for Web3 for all users. Yeah, so that's a bit about me. So I'm currently leading the business team for the Web3 promise.
Great, man. Thanks for coming. All right. All right, thanks. Stephen.
Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Steven. Of course, like I'm saying, like the other guys, I'm coming from Jakarta, based in Jakarta as well. I'm coming from Crystal DeFi, but maybe some of you guys know Crystal as a wallet, but we pivoted ourselves last year, and right now we are Crystal DeFi. And this DeFi case is more specified into LP DeFi or liquidity provisioning. So we are building ALM or automated liquidity management to help users to track their position, and we add automation on top of it. So yeah, that's what we are building right now. And actually, our target market are outside Indonesia, and I'll tell you the reason why after this. But yeah, happy to be here and help you guys for any question about LP or DeFi related stuff. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I'd love to hear about like innovation coming out of Indonesia to the world. Yeah, so let's do it. All right. That's kind of Sean.
Hey guys, Sean Kim, I'm the CMO for ArbiLink Jakarta. We are the third largest mobile game studio in Indonesia right now. Obviously, for some people, ArbiLink might be not new. We actually, back in 2022 early, we took over the leadership and we started to grow the full project after a strong institutional backing. You might see like why this random Korean in Indonesia right now speaking. So I grew up in Indonesia quite a long time in our international school. So understanding the factor we do wanted to provide, how can we put Indonesia into a full gaming map? And I think the Web3 narrative really drove that into scale. So if you have any questions regarding AI and DeFi and large language models, very, very happy to answer any questions. And of course, about arbitration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really excited to hear about gaming and AI. Very hot topic. Too hot topic. Cool. Moving on. So thanks for the intro. Well, first, before like we go in, just thought that it'd be good. And sorry, I know like we're blocking the slides, but my apology. But yeah. The reason that we're here, and then we have these, thought leaders from like Indonesia here, is that Indonesia, in terms of Web3 adoption, is really high. Actually, according to the Chainalysis 2024 Global Crypto Adoption Index, it ranked number 3. Right? A lot of people know kind of like, oh yeah, Web3 is happening, right? The DeFi bond is happening. But when you actually see this ranking compared to like US, right? Like these kind of bigger, who you think would be a lot bigger, right? And you see that number, it's like, wow, Indonesia is really up. And this is one of the reasons that we're here, is because Indonesia is happening, right? And then we actually look at like overall ranking, right? They started from like number 20 in 2022. Last year was number 7, number 3. Now, in terms of their ranking, like what they look at is DeFi value received, retail DeFi value received, as well as centralized service, and then retail centralized service value. Right? So it's a combination of factors that drive the ranking, but just look at the numbers, right? If you actually, I definitely recommend you to take a look at the report, because it's really talks about how a lot of the actually innovation is coming from more the decentralized finance in Indonesia. It just really stands out as one country. So I'm really spending a lot of time really looking at the data and use cases, because I really believe that innovation will be coming out of Indonesia, as part of the world. I think you guys already know that, right? And in terms of like just the numbers, right? Total transaction value, $8 billion US. Again, I have to calculate under 22 trillion Indonesian rupee what that is. 8 million total estimated users on chain, 18 million total estimated crypto users. Right, this is all from the channel. Sorry, escape cut up here and there. And then in terms of developer size, right? This is again the 2023 data I got first. Again, I have to obviously verify. It said 3 million, right? Now, I think it's not just Web3, but in general, the Indonesian developer community is very robust, very dynamic, and just really great to see these just numbers just in one place. Right? So I'm very excited about Indonesia. So, but now, obviously, I want to bring the attention back to you guys. Is what do you guys think about? Or the drivers behind this rise of these? Numbers are great, right? Everything. But what do you guys think about, like, you guys have been on the ground. You guys actually talk to people in Web3. So what do you think are, like, if you were to name one, like, driver is driving this crypto adoption in Indonesia? Maybe you will start with it.
Okay. I think first of all, Indonesia is we're very future oriented, like, in a way, right? So like back in the days, I think we have also we are also leading the mobile adoptions, right? So at some point in time, I think there's a research that says that we have more mobile phones than the humans in Indonesia, right? Because we are just so attached with mobile phones. So I think that shows that we are very adaptive to like a new technology. And then we're a very young country as well. So I think that's also explains why people are so interested in crypto. Let's look at it this visually. Right? So when let's say you graduate from high school and you're now an adult, you want to learn about investment, you want to learn about technology, right? And you know nothing about the old technology. You know nothing about the old traditional finance, about stocks, about the old world. That's it, right? And at the same time, you have this cool new technology that are growing rapidly, and it's inherently global from day one. And it's very cool. And then you see people like Elon Musk tweet about it, right? It's a no-brainer, I guess, for the young Indonesians to choose crypto or Web3 over the old technology or the old finance, right? So, and I think that's like part of it. And the other part is also because, I think in the end, crypto Web3 offers so much opportunities, career-wise or even, money-wise. There's so much that you can do, that you can make money or you can make a career out of it. And it's also so much fun, right? So I think, earlier, Patrick, explains a lot about, what you can and cannot do before crypto, before blockchain, and now you can do it, right? So I think it's exciting, and I think a lot of Indonesians understand that. The first they see it, the first they experience it.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, moving to Jonathan, maybe.
Yeah.
Aspect.
Yeah, I think I see it from several aspects. I think, of course, the number one would be the economic opportunity, and also I guess more so of an empowerment, because of of the returns, speculation aspect of it. We can't deny that that's the number one aspect that's why people adopt crypto in the first place. They speculate first and then they educate themselves. So from our side, we try to educate first to let them know, but that's usually the behavior that goes, right? And then the second aspect is that I think Indonesia's probably uniquely positioned in terms of like the population and the productive age. We have this term called Indonesia Emas, which is a golden. We expect a golden generation to come, right, or where the productive age of the majority of the population will be productive. And in that sense, because crypto is easily adoptable for the younger generation, this is the digital currency, the internet of the money of the internet. Sorry. That's probably a huge reason why also why this is getting so much traction. And I think the risk appetite overall in the country is really big. We've seen numbers about just online the loan numbers, the gambling numbers. All this feeds into the risk appetite of the majority, right? So yeah, I think those are some of the factors that I see why we're uniquely positioned. So I don't know what else to add, but yeah.
It makes up for other rest.
we're a fun little group.
Maybe to Steven and Sean, maybe like just building on that. It's like, how I get the point about like, they're young, they're very tech savvy, right? But like, where do they actually like teach themselves? Because this is not something that I'm sure you guys don't teach in a school system, right? So yeah, we just like, in the context of like what are the drivers that has, right? But like in terms of your particular vertical, where are they going to actually learn how to connect wallets and all that stuff? Because that's not exactly easy to get.
Right. Actually, that happens to me because like I started crypto journey since 2017, and back then I know nothing about crypto. I only know about Bitcoin, and I only happen to know that my friend traded Bitcoin and then he makes a lot of money, and then I get into it. But then I get not wrong, but back then in 2018, Bitcoin is kind of dumb, and then I just leave it there. But actually, like there is a huge reason why I want to learn about Bitcoin, blockchain, and Web3 stuff, right? Because I see that there is a future in that particular area, especially in Web3. And maybe back then it was pretty hard for me to learn about blockchain or especially like Bitcoin, because whenever I search about Bitcoin, like every news that comes up is Bitcoin is scam, Bitcoin is going to zero, Bitcoin is there's a lot of negative sentiment on Bitcoin back then. But I started to learn in 2020. I think there is also the same time when there is a huge boom of users coming from Indonesia, and they started to learn about Web3 space. And I think like Pintu was there as well, trying to help like educate a lot of users, and that's where I found like there's a lot of articles, and I think like that time like YouTube and every social media is pretty easy to access as well. And I just tried to learn about everything about Web3 from YouTube and online media and so and then like I found out like there is a community, offline community, and yeah, I just joined community, and then like that's where I start my Web3 career from that community. So yeah, so I'm like back then it was pretty hard to learn about Web3, especially, but right now, like even like right now, ArbiLink like they provide like Indonesian users on how to understand about blockchain, and like Arbitrum like gives you access to understand more about how to build a project on Arbitrum, integrate with Arbitrum and stuff. So yeah, there is a lot of opportunity actually from blockchain. So yeah, it's pretty much different from back then now.
Okay, Sean, any your take on this?
Yeah, I think what Jonathan said was actually quite spot on. So I'm in my early 30s, but I think we were all raised as from our parents, our baby boomer parents, that hey, if you study hard, you go to a good college, then everything will be set in stone. You'll get a good salary, you'll buy a house, you'll get a mortgage, you'll be able to get married. But with the current economical situation, what's happening, that is not the case. It's becoming more and more difficult for especially MZ generations. And that is pushing us not to just stock markets. Obviously, real estate is going to be difficult for purchasing. It's hard to get a loan itself in Indonesia as well. And then what else can I do? Should I go into stocks? And then understanding the whole aspect of, will I be able to buy a house for my family in a decade, in 10 years? Is that even possible? Is something that pushed for more higher volatile assets. I think, as Jonathan mentioned, the median age in Indonesia is very young. Korea, the median age is around 49.5. We're becoming like Japan. But in Indonesia, it's you could feel the growth. You could feel youth. There's a productive age of consistent technological innovation, and it's like a sponge. You want to learn more. And regarding that, it's a mix of, okay, there's an economical incentive that, okay, this might be one of the only ways to actually afford something or get a house, like have my dream come true. And that curiosity mixed with the youth productive age and that yearning for new technology, I think really expedited the scalability of Indonesia into the Web3 demand. And I also agree that the whole education system around crypto is still very, very in a very early stage. There still needs to be a lot of educational adoption going. I think most of the users in Indonesia are still relying on TikTok or Instagram or Twitter. And there's so much misinformation about that coming in, where there's an image of speculation rather than innovation. Then, and I told you before, like the ArbiLink or these community development conferences are true, I think, platforms for younger generations to really understand, okay, this is not just a speculative asset. There is actually some technology involved that could actually make a change in the world and have to be put
Indonesia at that starting ground is something that we could all learn together.
Wow, that's thanks. That's really good. I know, like, because I just want maybe I'll just jump into the Ethereum. Again, just kind of thinking about, I was going to ask the question about, like, I want to get this building, but maybe in the context of maybe what you guys are building and everything, what do you think the future adoption of Ethereum is going to look like in Indonesia? So maybe we'll start with Sean for this, like, no, yeah.
Got it. I'll try to be as short as possible so that we have a lot of different contents to come out. For us, as I told you, we're a gaming studio, and it might be a little different from exchanges or potential aggregators. We try to focus on how to scale the user-generated content for users to actually, and people think about gaming or GameFi as, Sean, it's just a play to earn. I think Axie Infinity done it already. What's next? And for us, it's not just about play to earn side. We're trying to figure out on the back end, how can this technology actually help? And I believe, I played Ragnarok back in 2004 in Indonesia. Like, I'll ask my mom and dad to pay me I think there was like a 1 hour card that you could buy. It was super cheap, but like if I did my homework well, like I'll get that card and I could participate. And I remember my friends starting to sell those cards to other people, and then they get a transaction as a middleman. And I think there's a huge market in item reselling. This might be CSGO that people talk about, but I think Roblox or these different like Fortnite user-generated content has really changed that aspect of how transaction flow works. And we're just trying to make that, how can we make that transparent? Is one of the key technologies that we're trying to solve, and I think that can be solved through, obviously, Arbitrum is what we think. So that's why we love working with Arbitrum. But I think that's one of the key technologies that we can see scaling in Indonesia, as there are so much number of gamers, especially mobile gamers out there.
Thanks,
Cool. Yeah. So maybe I'm tackling from the DeFi side, especially from Indonesia. So what I see from Indonesia, actually, like, there is not much DeFi project coming from Indonesia, especially like, I mean, like, maybe there is only one that project that are being built from Indonesia. But meanwhile, like, let's say we're talking about the rest of Southeast Asian country, like Vietnam, like they're super big in Solana, and Thailand, like they do have like one that's on very famous chain. But in Indonesia, like there is none. So that's why I mentioned that DeFi education in Indonesia is not much. So it's barely minimal. I think like Sean is also tackling like the education in Indonesia, especially for Web3 space and stuff. It's not really great. So what Indonesian users are talking or learning right now, it's only training side, not like how to build project, how to scale up your skills, and from Web2 to Web3 and create projects on Web3 or trying to contribute something with chains or any other projects out there. So actually, like there's a lot of opportunity on Ethereum. As we know, like Ethereum layer 1 and layer 2, like most of the money on Web3, like in global, like it's there, right? And on Arbitrum, like it's very stable on terms of LL folios and stuff, right? So actually, like I can say that Arbitrum is very heavy on DeFi and it's super DeFi stable, and there's a lot of opportunity for especially like Indonesian developers or tech guys who wants to explore how to build a project on Arbitrum. But maybe I want to give like some insight as well. So it's better for you to add more, or how to say, like try to solve or help pain point rather than build something brand new, right? The reason why, because like if you build like something brand new, it's going to be very complicated for you. And if you build if you try to solve like some pain point of any project or any cases, it's going to be better for you as well, because like you have a market, you have users and everything.
So in this case, like I was talking about arbitrage, right? There is a lot of how you say like idle money. I can say like the volume of arbitrage is quite a lot, and actually it's not that like from our side from DeFi perspective, because like if you compare like arbitrage to the other L2, Ethereum L2, like arbitrage volume is not. I mean like it's doing great, but it's still very slow. That's what I mentioned like idle money there. So there's an opportunity there for you to explore, for you to understand and learn, and just try to tackle or build something that can help to make that money move. So yeah, so that's why like there is a lot of opportunity in Ethereum from my perspective.
Excellent. All right, and Jonathan?
Same question? Okay.
Just, in context of your.
I think I need to be practical here. Is that I don't think Ethereum adoption is a regional specific thing, right? I don't think there's like a specific thing where Ethereum adoption will not suddenly grow specifically in Indonesia. So what we need is just a product that is actually usable, that everyday people would probably need or would benefit from. And when that product comes, the adoption will grow itself. I think that's the biggest obstacle for any Web3 developer currently is that we're super idealistic about centralization and all this. But from the user side, there's no need for it. There's opportunities that comes with it. There's VC money pouring in, and that drives adoption from the incentives side. But at the end of the day, I think the world needs blockchain needs to prove itself to the world that it is actually practical and usable and actually solves real world pain points. So I think at the end of the day, that's the major caution for everybody. It's not just Indonesia, not just us here in this room, but everybody in the space.
And Lawrence, maybe from in the context of like exchange, right? Like, what kind of like Indonesian pain points do you think Ethereum can potentially solve, from use cases and from the centralized exchange point of view?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I agree with everything that they say. But Indonesia is unique in a way that we have like so many people. Like we are the largest country in Southeast Asia. But GDP wise, we realize that we are not as strong as our neighbors. For example, like Singapore or even Malaysia, right? So that's something that we need to consider. And I think algorithm is great because a couple of things. One, it's cheap. Two, it's fast, right? Cheap and fast are good combination, and that's something that I think when people go into Web3, starts experiencing things on chain, whether it's DeFi, whether it's GameFi, that's something that they want to take a look, right? So is it nice to do? Is it cheap? Do I have to pay like $10 to do anything, right? But now with algorithm, it makes it really cheap, right? So I think that's a good indicator that algorithm can grow well in Indonesia. But at the same time, we also look at like Nobi, we also do asset management as well. So we have our teams that basically deploy different DeFi strategies, for example. And algorithm is great because algorithm have dApps like GMX, like Pendle, and a lot of different things that makes algorithm their own, right? And I think in the end, those kind of things matter, right? Because what good is a chain if there's no app on it, if there's no usage on it? And I think that's the main thing that we need to focus on, make sure that we can do different things. And I think algorithm is going into the right directions. And one thing that I really like is because our shop have our team have a lot of Rust developer. So I think this is also a good step that Arbitrum is now, we can build things in Arbitrum using Rust, and it's opening things to like more developers that, you know, they might not have to learn Solidity, because Solidity is only used on Ethereum. But for Rust, it's a general language. It can be used for different things, and I think Indonesia also have like different developer communities that now can get good into there, right? So I think those are the things that makes, I think, Arbitrum have a good futures in Indonesia.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I could have said it better. Maybe the next question, maybe only for Stephen and Sean, like, is what do you think Arbitrum can do to really help, right, drive the kind of user adoption, you know, especially the Ethereum adoption, right? I think our tech stack really solves a lot of the issues on the builder side. Things like our stylus, you know, will definitely help. You know, programmers coding in different languages that they're more familiar with. But you know, we're out here, like we're here to like really engage with the communities. So on that sense, maybe more on the community side of things and on the education side of things, because I think you mentioned like education is hard. We have to go to uni, right? What can we do to help? Right? Different from the builder side of things.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. How can we drive more education side on for the community side? Right now, just being frank, I'm curious for the audiences. Do you guys develop for Solana? Is it a difference if you guys develop in Ethereum, Arbitrum, Avalanche? I believe that as a developer back in the day in Indonesia, it's not about, oh, it's because they have a better tech stack, I'm going to use this one. It's based on right now, what am I hearing that I'm comfortable with? And I started coding with that specific language, and now I'm already part of that community. I think, how can we develop and there was no platform. I think localization wasn't there yet. So I had to go talk with the guild to tell me about, is this in Bahasa? Are there any like strong meetups? So we develop anime games. So there's something called Kamifu. It's like a big anime convention. Are there stuff like that for specific chains? I don't think even specific chains exist. It just doesn't exist, these kind of conventions and it's kind of interesting when I came here and I see young minds listening about and asking questions like, how is it workable? I think you asked that question and this I haven't seen 3 years ago. This is very, very, oh wow, this is a nice hiring slot from my side. So, and I think what can we do? And that's why if I have humbly give an opinion for Arbitrum is that if Arbitrum is actually able to drive these offline events that drives more hackathons, it could be incentivized by goods or t-shirts or even monetary, but ability to do that will bring in young minds like this. And they start, and I think Indonesian people are very loyal, like in the sense of, they like the sense of like, togetherness. Family, I think, is a very important culture. And if Arbitrum is the first part that could drive that, I think it will massively adopt because it's much more familiar. I think that's just to shorten it off, like, having these like DevCon or conferences might be something, especially for smaller community holders, like be a very, very driving.
I hear it every time like, I talk to my Indonesian friends, and then it's like, what is that one thing that really differentiates Indonesia? That whole notion of community, family. Indonesia is all about that. That actually is a very insightful comment. Thank you very much for that.
So yeah, I totally agree with Sean that actually what Indonesia needs right now is more hackathon, more staff content thing. We are pretty much packed with events already, so it's enough. But what we need right now is hackathon, just to improve our tech skill, dev skills. Because I used to live in Vietnam for several months, and I felt like there is a lot, like most of the people or tech guys there, they are super competitive. I mean, like they want to learn a lot of new things, right? And there is there is a lot of events that can support that kind of skills as well. I mean, like the support that needs as well. But meanwhile, in Indonesia, like I believe like there's a lot of users or Indonesians who want to learn about more about, like say, like Solidity Rust, like coding and stuff, and how to create a project and stuff. But they don't know how to do it because, as Joe mentioned as well, that most of our Indonesian users they only use TikTok or social media. Let's say like like Gen Z social media, right? To learn about how to code and stuff, and it's not right, right? And they need to sharpen their skills as well by like joining hackathons and stuff. And maybe like if I do have one suggestion, like maybe ArbiLink or Arbitrum can create like one major hackathon and maybe like invite some of the hackathon winners from other countries as well, let's say like Vietnam or Japan or Korea, just to compete with Indonesia and let them see that how far is their skill compared to the other countries. I mean, like it's pretty harsh that I mentioned something like this, but just to let them know that actually like there's a lot of good devs coming from Indonesia, but they're hidden and they're working for like big Web3 companies really, right? And the rest they still want to learn, but they don't know how. Maybe like there's one of the ideas that I can suggest to Arbitrum to do and to build to create a lot of stuff.
Wow, thank you. I'm already like taking notes of that writing. Yes, thank you. Really good. That's really good advice. Definitely actually different for me. Shifting our gear, so this is our last section of the panel discussions, future outlook for Indonesia. So shifting our gear to maybe back to Lawrence and Jonathan. How do you think Indonesia can contribute to like Indonesian like the progress, the future of Web3 at the grassroots level? Because you said like a lot of these developers might be hidden, maybe working on an individual basis, right? Or they need to like level up their skill and everything. So what is like the first thing that they can do right now, right, as an individual to really contribute to the future? Yeah. Maybe I'll just add, this is the last question, like, what are you doing about that? Help maybe folks in the room.
Happily, yeah. I think this is my short answer would be just one word: education. And how I guess I'll get really practical. I've been in the space from 2017, so that's my first crypto purchase, right? That was my first interaction. Before I purchased any, well, at the time Bitcoin, I did 2 weeks of nonstop reading and YouTubing. Yeah, and it was really, really hard, right? The quality was, I mean, it was okay, and it was informative, but scarce, I guess, and the quality is pretty low. From there, right, fast forward to now, and I think it's globally, right? This is not talking about Indonesia. Probably Indonesia at the time, maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 YouTubers with like a really bad camera or something. Yeah, I didn't find anything in Indonesia. But fast forward to now, I think we have to pat ourselves on the back in the sense that we have come a long way. So I'll give you an example in an Indonesian context. So who here actually knows Andreas Tobing? Raise your hand. Okay. So a little bit. Okay. I'll take it further. Who here knows Academy Crypto? So it should be everybody. There are lots of educators coming into the realm, and then they are talented in the sense of their marketing prowess and their ability to make stuff viral. Is good. It's great. So in that sense, we are pushing crypto education forward. Now, the content it varies. Right? There's meme marketing. There's airdrop hunting, and then there's just drama between crypto Twitter people. But I mean, ultimately, it does push this thing forward, right? Because there is a tension that's coming into this. So we do have to pat ourselves on the back in the sense that there are local influencers and local educators that has sprung up and actually produces good content. Pintu, we pride ourselves in that from the first day we do have a Pintu Academy, and because how we got our product market fit is through simplicity and adopting the moms and the dads, everybody. So back in 2020 when we first launched, I remember I wasn't there. I wasn't working at Pintu, and I asked my sister-in-law, and she said, "Oh, I bought crypto." Oh, I was like, "Oh, really?" Because I never mentioned that I was into crypto back then, right? I was too public about it. Really? So what do you use? I use Pinto. Huh? Pinto? It's like I don't even know what it is. And then why? It's so simple. So that's how we got our product marketing. And because of there's so much noobs that's coming into Pinto, we actually pride ourselves in that we do offer a vast, I guess, curriculum of resources where we do educate. I think it's right there in the app where it's article based, where there's so many topics that you can dive into from the beginner stage to the advanced stage. We have actually like a parse our curriculum to 3 stages: as beginner, intermediate, and then advanced. And then on our YouTube also, we're always up to date, updating with the newest and greatest technology. So, but yeah, just TLDR. Education, education. So, I guess in the context of developing, also, this is what we need, also, right? Education for the developers. So we strive to do that. We put resources into that. We have specific people dedicated to that within our company.
Thank you very much. I mean, I wish you had that 2-week curriculum that you did. And you should publish it on Twitter. People might like actually be able to actually learn from that. Actually, like looking back when I also like onboarded on Web3, I was at Bybit. And the first thing I did was actually had like this 200 like Web3 influencer thought leaders that like I asked for like the list of people that I should follow. And it just that like I breathed in and out that like for a month, right? And then while I was doing work, that was like going down the rabbit hole. That's actually what taught about Web3, and then you just try one use case scenario after the other, and then by the time you kind of become part of the ecosystem. So I totally like what you said, really resonated with me. All right, Lawrence.
Well, it's a tough question, right? But I think we have all the answers in Indonesia. So I mean, I do agree that we need better educations. We need to work harder to have like local hackathons. That's all great, right? But I think what we need the most is guts, right? Because crypto level the playing field, and if you're building a Web3 apps on Arbitrum or in any chain, right? You're not just against people in Jakarta or people in Indonesia. You're against the world. Because in crypto, you build for the world, not just locally. I mean, it depends on your project, obviously, but it's a global technology from day one, right? So I think what you need the most is guts. And I think one thing that I guess we realized at personal capacity, I want to be a cheerleader for like every developers I met, and especially in Indonesia, because I think there's this mindset that oh yeah, we are so behind. Oh yeah, we know nothing. Oh, we don't know enough English or whatever, right? But then we look at our neighboring country, Malaysia, Vietnam, right, Philippines, right, and they have like so many projects sprouting up, right? And if we compare ourselves maybe to the US, Japan, or maybe the first world country, and we might be thinking that oh yeah, they have like so much advantage, they have so much better educations, they have like great Silicon Valley community, they know each other, those kind of things. But then you realize that in Web3, we have projects coming up from Vietnam, like from like we have like companies from Singapore, Malaysia, great projects. Like Etherscan are Malaysian company, right? And not many know about it, right? So they they're not that much different from us. You know, they eat rice and chicken every day, just like us, right? So what's the difference, right? And you know, and they're all coming from Southeast Asia. And the fact is, so many projects that we know are based in Southeast Asia. You go to Singapore and you see so many projects, so many Web3 companies, big Web3 companies that are based in Singapore, right? And you know that should be our advantage. That should be the fact that they're right next door. That should be our advantage. You know, if we want to work with them, if we want to become like them, and just basically go there and experience it. And you know, if you're a developer, professional capacity, you know, we Novi is always hiring for the best people. So if you're a Rust developer or if you're Solidity developers and you know you're bored with your current job, you want to see you know what you can do, you know, talk to me. You know, maybe we can work something together. Maybe I can give you ideas, or you may want to help us build our DeFi or whatever, right? So just let me know.
Thank you. Wow. Words of encouragement. Being cognizant that this session is right before lunch, you guys gonna be around for lunch, hopefully, or maybe, well, these guys are gonna be here, so hopefully you guys are open to kind of having conversation with the folks in the room and everything. Yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up now. Like, let you guys go to lunch, but thank you very much. Really insightful. Like, really, I'm quite inspired, and I think I got some homework to do for our Arbitrum Foundation. So yeah, definitely will be. This won't be the last. It'll be the first of many that's going to come for sure. So anyway, thank you very much. Please give a round of applause to the panel for really taking the time to come. And thanks for coming. And thanks for folks on the live stream. I think we'll be back at 1:30. 1:30 on live stream. Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much. Stick around for lunch. Thank you. Hello? All right. I know we're getting a little bit sleepy. Make sure you grab your coffee. Lots of coffee is great. I know Indonesia produces amazing coffee, so definitely get a cup or two if you need it. Thank you guys for staying in the afternoon session, and especially for those on the live stream. Thank you, 15,600 people. Wow, that's a lot of people tuning in, so really appreciate that. So yes, I know we don't have that as many people in this room, but we are as equally excited about this. All right, so hopefully, yeah, you guys are excited, as excited as me in terms of what's coming up next. Yeah, so next up, we got Stylus and Orbit session by Jason, followed by the coding challenge and competition, which is going to be a 3-hour workshop by Patty, and then Patty's going to close at 4:45. And please stick around. Now that you guys made it to the afternoon session, yes, this is the merch. I'm sorry, I left folks. You guys can't see it, but we got the merch for the folks who are sticking around from the afternoon, and just to let you know, Arbitrum umbrella. This is a really good one. All right. Sorry, folks who couldn't join that in the morning. Yeah, you have to stick around for the afternoon to get the special merch. And then for those who could not make it today, but available tomorrow, we're going to be doing a meetup here at our Hyatt. I forgot which floor it is. But anyway. Third floor. Okay, third floor. Come to the third floor. All right, we'll be around. Not me, but Patty gonna be, but then Jason gonna be around. Okay. Alex and Patty gonna be around. If you're gonna come and just ask questions or anything, yeah, we'll be around. Awesome. Okay. If no other question, without further ado. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Yes, sorry, there's something I forgot to talk about in the last session. So for the folks who are on the live stream and who missed, we got a couple of campaigns going right now. One is Learn and Earn campaign going. This is a 5-module campaign. It really takes you through kind of in terms of like, how to get to learn about Arbitrum, how to code everything. And then build campaign, the bounty campaign that's going on that will get a report for coding. So yeah, definitely. And so yeah, you should not, there's no excuse now not to jump into Arbitrum today, please. And one more. We understand, I think in the panel discussion, one key takeaway was that, yeah, Arbitrum, we need you to, be around and more and, interact with us, the community. We hear you. We totally hear you loud and clear. So again, I'm going to be in Jakarta again tomorrow or next week, but we'll be in Southeast Asia. You guys know, if you're in Web3, you got a big Ethereum conference, really the mother of all Ethereum conference called DevCon, happening in Bangkok. We'll be there. And we're going to be doing what we call Arbiverse. This is the new event format that we did it in Singapore. About 1,018 people showed up. Really, you get to not only learn about what Arbitrum is, but also about interact with builders, fellow builders who are building Arbitrum. And so definitely, if you're going to be in Bangkok, please come. And that's where you can sign up with the Luma page. And also, if you're going to be in Bangkok a little bit ahead of time and fly a little bit more, there's a builder also event called Edge City Lama. We're going to be sponsoring with other protocols in the ecosystem, the bounty. So definitely also show up. Again, it's just not only Arbitrum, but we'll be there. So definitely sign up for that. So lots going on. Very excited about what's happening in Indonesia, Southeast Asia. So stay tuned for more. Okay. That's enough QR code for you. That will be the last. Okay, I swear. All right. Without further ado, I'd like to bring to the stage Jason to talk about status. Come up. Please. Okay. Here you go. Here's the clicker, sir.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason from OceanNet. I'm Jason from OceanNet and I'm an integration engineer. Today I will give you a brief introduction to our Armstrong status and the Armstrong orbit. Here is my social, so if you want to contact me with any technical question, feel free to just contact me. Okay, so we will start with the Armstrong orbit. Thanks to Patrick, you now already know about what is the Arbitron and how Arbitron works. So if you want to build your own Arbitron chain, now we have the product for you. It's the Arbitron Orbit. The Arbitron Orbit will can give you a full tech behind the Arbitron 1 or Arbitron lower. You can just use the Arbitron Orbit to deploy your own chains, like based on Ethereum or based on Arbitron 1. So the chain can be layer 2 or the layer 3, it depends on your need. And of course, it's totally permissionless if you build on Arbitron 1 or Ethereum based chain. Okay, so let's move. Okay, so how does the layer 3 orbit looks like? Here is the diagram. Sorry for this one may be a little outdated because now the query is deprecated now, and now we use the Sepolia. So if you want to build your orbit chain, here you can build on layer 3 based on our Armstrong, like Armstrong 1, Armstrong Nova, or Armstrong Sepolia. So before you build your Armstrong orbit, we suggest you to build on the Armstrong Sepolia first because this is a testless chain, so it can give you some test case on it. And if you don't want to build it on, if you don't want to build it on layer 2, you can also build it on the Ethereum directly as to make your orbit as the layer 2 chains. But you need to make sure that your layer 1 chain can just be Ethereum, not be Solana or other chains. So what is the orbit? As Patrick already told you that Arbitron is the layer 2 chain which based on the Ethereum. So what do we actually base is the smart contract we deploy on the layer 1. So those smart contract we call it like the ROP smart contract. And the ROP smart contract will be the base to run the ROP protocol or the challenging. Of course, if there are any challenging there, it's all run on the ROP smart contract. So the Armstrong nodes will follow the smart contract to run their node. For example, if you are a new node operator to join the Armstrong network, then you can set up your node, and the node will connect to layer 1 chain, and the layer 1 chain they talk to is the node contract. They will read to those contracts to sync the state, to sync the transaction, and re-execute those transactions to get the latest state. So this is how what is the orbit looks like. Sorry, I'm not familiar with this one. Okay. So based on the orbit, what can orbit give you? The orbit can give you more permission to do things based on Arbitron 1. Because on Arbitron 1, we make Arbitron 1 to get the compatibility with Ethereum. But if you run your own orbit, you don't need to follow those rules. You can build your own chains with your own protocol. Like if you want to upgrade some OP code or you want to give your chains access controls, then you can build this. Of course, if you are devs or if you are EIP writers, you can also use the Orbit chain to test your EIP. That is all what the all the Orbit chain can give you. So based on this, how can you customize it? Here is an example. I'm not sure if you heard about a state transaction. The state transaction is you use to, for example, if your transaction comes to the upstream node, how upstream node will execute your transaction. So we call this as the state transaction function. The state transaction function has a lot of ability to define how the OP code runs and how your transaction will be made and how the chain will charge your gas. So if you want to create a protocol to run with gasless, you can also change the state transaction function to give your users a gasless chain. Of course, if you want to do some customize on the pre-compare contract, the pre-compare contract can be used to do anything based on the load directly rather than an on-chain contract. For example, you can use the pre-compare to do a protocol level programs to help you. For example, if you want to run ZK proof, then you can just write a pre-compare contract to implement it. So that will be easy for you if you want to do more things. So based on this, based on you can change the STF, what we call is the state transaction foundation. Then you can do the more things on the protocol level. For example, you can add some modify the challenge protocol. For example, because the challenge protocol is based on what we designed now, and if you want to give it more ability to do the things you want to customize, this is what you want here. Of course, someone might do some secret, some other models, like if you want to order the transaction by your likes, for example, you want to support some protocol level MEU way to help others to avoid those contacts, like Patrick already suggested what is front run. Then you can design with this. Oh, something more. Okay, so that is what Orbit looks like. Okay, so let's move to the part. The stylus part is our main topic today. What is stylus? The stylus will introduce you a UAM plus, which you can deploy your smart contract with the language of Rust, C++, or C, or any other Watson-based language. And this is a parallel VM for smart contract to execute it. You can imagine that there will be a Watson and a UVM version VM to run ArbiLink at the same time. And the smart contract based on the UVM can talk with the Watson program, and also the Watson program can talk with the UVM smart contract. You don't need to like other chains, you need to wait some time to let your UVM contract to call the Watson contract. It's okay on ArbiLink. You just need to call it, and it will be done in just one single transaction. Okay, so the other part is the mostly what the user will care about is stylus will be much more cheaper. You can say that we can have the 10 to 100 times cheaper on execution. If you want to deploy a smart contract which is super heavy computation, then stylus will be a good choice for you, because imagine that if you want to deploy AI mode in on-chain, the cost will be super insane because the execution of that is super heavy. So if you want to do that, Watson will be the best solution for you to execute that. What about the other benefits of stylus? It's almost, because this can be written by the Web2 language rather than stylus, rather than Solidity. So many Web2 developers can onboard Arbitrum with their familiar language like C, C++, Rust. So it will be much more easy to onboard many Web2 developers. If you really want to serve more users, then we need more developers. This is the reason why the stylus can give us more users and developers. And also, there are many libraries in Rust or C++ than Solidity. So if you build with this, you will get more library to help you to build your program. Sorry, this immersion time listen to me. Okay, so if you want to get started with Rust, here is the resources you can use. Maybe you can use later today, because Patrick will introduce you how to use the Rust to deploy your contract. So you may take a picture of this, and you can use them later to help you to get more information about the stylus. The one which is the most useful is the second part is stylus by example. In this page, we give you a lot of examples there to help you understand what is stylus and how you can deploy the stylus with your needs. Like we will teach you what is stylus and how to define a new state and how to call a state, and if you want to do some hash, then the stylus by example can also teach you how to do that. Also, if you haven't used Rust before, you can go to our quick start and our docs first. There we will teach you how to install the Rust first, and also the cargo. Those are CLI tools, which is super helpful to help you to deploy the smart contract. Okay, so after you install those tools, you now can consent to deploy it and testing it. The way you can use to test is you can use our Docker to run a local database. The local database have the full VM to let you to deploy your smart contract with the stylus. And also, if you don't want to do that, but you want to use our testnet, then the Optimus Supportia is available now. The Optimus Supportia can let you to deploy your own Rust contract or any C++ contract. Also, if you are ready to get your program on the net, then you can use our mainnet URL directly to deploy it. Okay, so let's move on how to deploy it. Before we move on, there is our design goals for the Rust stylus SDK. We want to make you the same to what you do to Solidity. So we use the arrow as a help to make your coding experience as the same as Solidity. The arrow provides a lot of library which can let you feel like it's Solidity. Like it can let you to move your move your variables to what UAM like variables, and also let you to access those on-chain information like block number or other address convert or other block information. So okay, here we go how to deploy your first status contract. To deploy your smart contract with the help of status, you can use our cargo CLI tools named the cargo status. The cargo status can help you to deploy, test, and also check if your contract is correct or not. So here we go. This is the way to create a new project. Here we name is my first contract. So you just have cargo status new. It's okay. Then it will help you to download the Hello World smart contract with the Rust language. After that, you can continue to test or you can continue to write your own methods on that. Because at that contract, we just gave a simple example of the name of a state name, the count, and the method there is just to increase the count or raise the count. It's super simple, but it's a good start to good tools to help you start learning the status. Okay, after that, you can use the CLI to check if your smart contract is worthy. To verify your smart contract, the cargo status check, because sometimes you might write some wrong contract. So if this gave you a good result, the correct result, then you are free to deploy on-chain directly. Okay, the next one, after we check that contract, then we can deploy it. The deploy is super simple, just like what you do to Solidity. You just need to have the cargo status deploy and with your endpoint. The endpoint here is for the local tablet, but you can also change it to our supporting your endpoint or our mainnet endpoint or any other orbit chains which is already supported the status endpoint. And then it's your priority because you know if you want to deploy the contract, you need the gas to deploy. So a private key is needed. So what will after this, it will give you the results of your contract. It will give you your smart contract address, and you can use that address to interact with them. And the way to interact with your smart contract is same to Solidity one. You just need the API, and then you just call the API is okay. So it will be super easy for you to today. Okay. So let's dive into how to write a simple status contract. The status Rust SDK can provide you to get the value type from the primitive ways, and you can just to get that from our error to convert the primitive number to the one which the blockchain support, because you know on UAM the value are 256 bit values. So you need to use the arrow to help you convert. And the convert way is super simple, just like this, it's okay. Also, if you want to access some more blockchain values like the address, you want to convert them to the address, you can also use this. The address can also be done like this way. Okay, so let's talk about the variables. We have three types of variables. The first one is a local one. The local one can be used within the method itself, and it will just keep live during the transaction. After the transaction, it will be banned. And for the state variables, it will be stored on chain and will charge the gas to store it and change it. This is what we also call it. We also have this in Solidity contract. So if you are a Solidity contract developer, you will be super familiar to this. So the last one is the global variables. The global one is available from the VM, just like the block dot, like number or MSG dot value. Those type of variables can also be accessed. So let's move to the state variables because the state variables is the most you will use during your development. To define a new state, you need to write write the code like this. You need to have a micro length, the storage, and then the entry point, then the code, the VM will know where to start and what is your state like this. Initialize, owner, and max supply are also the state. Here is the state type. If you want to have a pool or any other types, you can also find in our docs. Our docs will give you more types of the states you can use. Okay, after we design the state variables, how can we write a program? Here is the way you can write. This is just a super simple example. Like you can get the state by the dot get method, and you can set it just by the dot set method. It's super easy. So if you are already a developer of Rust, you will be super easy to onboard this. What about some advanced usage like the mappings? The mappings, of course, you can design the state like this or this. Here we provide two ways to define the state variables. One way is just like this is the Rust ways. If you are not familiar with this ways, we recommend you to use this one we defined here. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's just like this. If you give another macro like this, then you can define the state like what you did in Solidity. This is the Solidity way to define your state. It's super easy for the Solidity developer to onboard. How about if you, okay, so this is the example we define the mapping. The mapping way we just define it as what we did in Solidity. And if you want to set the mappings, the way is super easy. It's just to dot get and with your case, and then it will return you the value of the case. So you can just get that because we store it a mapping as the backs to the pool. So the K will be the base 32 and the value will be the pool. So like this, if you use the dot get, then the return will be the pool. So you can just put it into the statement. And the second one is how to set a new value of the mapping date. Just like that, you can firstly get the status by your new transaction ID. You can set it. You don't need to set. This one is to can let you set a new value. You don't need to this is not for the existing one. But it's okay if you want to change the existing one. It's also the way to change it. So you use the theta to get the volume and get the theta, and then the second line is to set it to the another volume or set it to a new volume. It's super easy to make that. Okay, how about how about we design the method? It's just like that. The context here is about how to write a method for the get, and then the get will give you the result of this state. So if you want to make this method as public, you can just give it a public macro on the top of the implementation of this class. So, but if you want to make it as private, you just need to move the public macro is okay. So this is a way to define how to define the public or the private contract. Okay, let's go to a full code to walk through how the Rust program works there. Firstly, you need to define the state as what you do to solidity. So the state here, we just define a count, and the type of the count is just like u int 256. So here is the two way to define the state, as we said before. So the first way is the last way. The second way, the second way you can use this. Sorry, I have the wrong image. The second way you can put it just like this. Just like this is a solidity way. So whatever you want is okay. Okay, let's write two methods to get and state a state we already defined. The get one is what we talked about before. It's super easy. It's just put get, and if you want to set it, just put your new value there, and you can set it. Okay, let's expand the concept. Here, the third method is to increase the volume of the count. You can just use the one we have in LU to convert the primitive volume to the one our UVM can recognize. Then we get the new count and we can set it, and we can call the set count to directly call it, and it will call the second method. So a new state will be set. And what if you want to decrease the count? You can call this fourth method. The first method will also get the count value and then minus 1. Then we'll set to the for the second method to set a new value to it. Okay, that is how to write a stylus program. It's just a simple example. If you want to do more, you can go to visit those resources. I already put it before, but I want to put it again to help you to get more resources. Also, the first one is SDK info. That is for the beginner to do it because it will guide you how to install the Rust and help you to deploy your first Rust program. And if you have any question about stylus, feel free to join our Telegram group. We will have devs there to help you to understand what is stylus, and if you have any errors when you write the stylus program, you can also put your question in there, and we will help you to find out the way to solve it. The third part is just for the examples which will be useful to use. And I suggest the stylus by example is highly recommended to use. Okay, that is all. And if you have any question about stylus, you can feel free to ask me because this afternoon we will give you try to write a stylus content as a help of Patrick. So thank you everyone.
All right, thank you, Jason. Okay, great. I invite Patty to the stage. Just set it up. All right, how's it going? You good with coffee, water? I think the gentleman over here is already done with your water. I think we need a refill here. All right, guys. Wish we could open up a little bit, put a little bit of light. Maybe I don't know if we can move the curtain a little bit more. It'd be nice. A little bit dark in here, right? Yeah, just a little bit. So that. Okay. Whoa. All right, Patty. Exciting parts.
Woo, fire! So basically, the idea is that we're going to have a coding challenge for the next hour, where everyone's going to break into teams. You're going to implement the game rock, paper, scissors, and hopefully at the end of the hour, we'll get maybe 2 to 3 teams, depending on who's confident, to show off their solution to the rest of the group. So in terms of breaking into teams, so there's a lot more people here than I anticipated, actually. This is nice, isn't it? This is a really big community. I think what we can try to do is try every table is a team where you all work together. So whoever you're sitting next to, it could be 2 people or 4 people, whatever works for you guys, whatever you can cooperate on. And the idea is that you're going to implement rock, paper, scissors together. So you need to think about how the game is going to work. There's going to be 2 tricks in the game. And one thing I want to recommend is don't use ChatGPT, because we all know ChatGPT can probably give you the answer. But that also defeats the purpose of playing with it and trying to learn how Solidity works. How did Jason do this so flawlessly? The clicker. So before we get into coding, I need 2 volunteers. So does someone want to come up and play rock, paper, scissors? I see a smile over there. Yeah? Oh yeah, look at that. You want to pop up? Come on up. Woo! Sorry, you giggle too much, so volunteer distribute. Okay, so you know how to play rock, paper, scissors? Okay. So you do 1, 2, and then you do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Rock, paper. Oh wait. You're 2. Now in sync. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh! I lost. That's the good. For everyone who's familiar with rock, paper, scissors, that's the good. Thank you very much. Good job. So we're going to implement it as a smart contract. But one of the interesting challenges you have to actually, I can go through the slides. So there'll be 2 players. I'd recommend using message.sender to authenticate, and hopefully you'll figure that out over the hour. You'll probably have 3 rounds. You need to set up the game. 2 players need to register. Then you need to be able to make a move, submit rock, paper, or scissors. And of course, at the end of the game, the smart contract should be able to check who won the game. And maybe if you have time, you can implement some NFT and give the winner an NFT. They could get like a crypto pump or something. But there's some things you should consider. Inside the code, and this is really a coding challenge, is you don't have to run the game. You just got to think about how you implement the smart contract. Maybe consider modifiers, enums, One thing you'll want to consider is, remember, everything on the blockchain is public. If I commit rock, how can the other players see that? And can you fix that as well? You'll need to think about future front ends. So maybe you want to embed events. So then if you ever build a website, they can pick up each round in the game. And of course, maybe you want to handle deposits. So you basically have an hour to do this. And again, your team is either the person you're sitting next to or your table. You guys can communicate. You can also do it by yourself, but it's more fun to do it as part of the team if you get the chance. And also, I don't know if we're going to get time, so we're going to see. I have like a competition at the very end. And so I'm going to recruit Jason, who's going to help me. We're going to try to crack an Ethereum address from each team and give you guys a test that and register you for the game as well. I don't know if we'll get time to do it, so we'll see. We'll see how this comes along anyway. So again, you have 1 hour. Well, 1 hour and 4 minutes. We'll convene back at 3 o'clock. So you get 4 extra minutes. So I'll just let you guys take it away. Oh, Siri, go away. Sorry. Oh, is there any questions, by the way, before you start? Or is everyone happy? Oh, one thing I did want to show. So there, you can implement it in Solidity or Stylus using Rust. So if you want to use Rust, I'd recommend talking to Jason. He could probably help get you started. If you want to use Solidity, I recommend using Remix. So has anyone here ever used Remix before? Or heard of it? Awesome. So Remix is an online IDE that allows you to write Solidity. As you can see here, there's a storage smart contract. How much? Sorry, Clicker. Well, I don't need that anymore. What's nice is, so with this smart contract, you can compile the code in the browser. So you can compile it. And then you can come down, I think it's this icon here. You can deploy the contract. You will have the contract deployed. And then you can interact with it. So I can store a number of 1. This is a storage smart